Good evening and welcome. You're listening to the Summer of Baseball, proudly presented by Sports Broadcasting Australia. We're broadcasting live from Blacktown International Sports Park on this wonderful Saturday evening, the 10th of March in the year 2018. I'm Paul Harradine, also known commonly as Harrow, and as mentioned, you're listening to the Summer of Baseball and viewing images presented on Baseball.TV on your Ustream channel. Tell your friends and family, tune into Ustream and look for Baseball.TV. It's summertime in Sydney and it's been a fantastic day of baseball here. The under-18s game on grand final day started at 9 o'clock this morning and we got a result. That was followed by third grade and second grade this afternoon, and we're about to go to game 2 of the preliminary final in the first grade competition of the New South Wales State League. And it's been a great day. Of course, first grade delayed by 1 week because of a washout in the earlier rounds of the post-season. We're going to bring you the results of the 18s, third grade and second grade shortly. But in the meantime, we've got the Vikings taking the field. The plate meeting has been held and the Vikings are about to go through their warm-up routine. We'll give you their defensive lineup before the Orioles come up to bat here in this Game 2 series. Of course, the Orioles will bat in the top of the innings. They batted in the bottom of the innings on Wednesday night's Game 1, and the two teams just reverse, home team and away team, for the game number 2. And if we do get to game number 3, then it is different again. It goes back to Macarthur batting in the bottom of the innings. More about that later. Joining me tonight, Matt Jeevens, Big Cam, P-Mac, we're all here. Big Cam, it's going to be a great night of first grade baseball here in this PF2.
Going to be a cracking game of baseball. Harrow and Macarthur are hell-bent on winning this one, taking the series 2-0 and having tomorrow off. And by the exact same token, the Vikings fighting for their life and do not want to give an inch.
Earlier results in the under-18s, it was Manly victorious over Cronulla, 3-1. In the third grade competition to win the championships, Baulkham Hills 4 defeated Macarthur 1. And in the second grade competition, in a very fast game of baseball, Cronulla 3 defeated the Ride Hawks 1. In the earlier Game 1 on Wednesday night in this first grade competition, Macarthur 3 defeated the Vikings 2. We'll bring Matt Jeevens in now. Matt, how did you see Wednesday night, how that's going to relate to tonight's Game 2?
Mate, from what I saw Wednesday night, I was expecting a little bit more from Canterbury. I expect them to come out a little bit more fiery. Obviously, that didn't happen. And look, Macarthur are patient, which is very unusual for Macarthur. Look, they've been a very strong side.
Well, you followed Macarthur for a while. You've been involved with Macarthur a bit. You know all the guys pretty well. And you're looking towards an exciting game here tonight.
Mate, can't wait. Look, a lot of these guys, look, they're here to win tonight. They do not want to come back tomorrow.
Okay, down to the game. We've seen the first pitch and the defensive lineup for the Vikings. In right field, it's Tyson Mangione. Hit ball now, goes fair past third base side. We'll go to the action first of all. Ends up with a single to double. Lachlan Giulieri out there leading off, fielding the ball at the left side there, chasing it into the line. Dane Wigg drove it right over to the left-hand corner, right up near the bullpens. And a lot of work there to do for Giulieri in left field side. And Dane Wigg getting things going here. Early days, I think it was the third pitch. And that's the way Macarthur are going to approach this game. Coco Johnson at the plate now for the Orioles. And I'll just go through that defensive lineup again. Right field is Tyson Mangione for the Vikings. In centre field, it's Jackson White. Left fielder, as I mentioned, Lachlan Giulieri. At third base, Michael Lennox, the hot corner. And at shortstop, Daniel Bannon. Second baseman, Trent D'Antonio. At first base, it's Brett Rosen. And the starting battery for the Canterbury Vikings, behind the plate, Guy Edmonds, and the starting pitcher, Brad Simon.
So Coco Johnson in the batting box, had a good season with the Macarthur Orioles, and as a result, I believe he got a call up, or got a contract to the minors, so he'll be off over there as soon as we're finished here in Sydney.
Sensational news.
And Johnson stands in now facing Simon, fouls this one off up onto the roof, and it's going to hit the very face of the roof of the grandstand, bounce back out towards first base. And home plate umpire Ben Nash will inspect that ball. Our umpiring panel tonight, Ben Nash will look after home plate. Bobby Dawes takes first base. Jordan Taylor at second base. Bobby Crawford looking after third base. So a full panel of 4 on the field in terms of the umpires. And a pretty good panel too out there, and expecting them to get through this game with relatively no incidents, hopefully. As
Very experienced crew. Very experienced crew.
Simon misses inside on Johnson.
Johnson didn't budge off that either. Was heading straight for his left shoulder.
Yep.
He just held his ground.
The guy will not move.
That's good.
Base on balls is good at this stage of the game. Full count pitch coming from Simon to Johnson. It is right on the outside corner and rings him up on strikes. A great start for Simon.
Wow, there it is. First strike of the game, top of the first innings. Coco Johnson back to the dugout. So 1 out, 1 on second base. That's Dane Wigg. Great place to be. You lead off batter in the top of the first innings in scoring position early in the game.
And especially, with a guy like Helmsy up, he's had a really good season. First guy I've seen in quite some time actually put up double digits for home runs for the season. Actually led the home runs with 10 for the season. It's been a long time since we've seen anyone do that in the State Baseball League.
And did he get a walk-off Wednesday night's game? Was
night,
that with him finishing that?
Walk-off double.
Yep.
Yeah, that game ended 3-2 to Macarthur. And as Matt and Harrow were just saying, it was Matt with a double to end it and to win the game for the Orioles.
Matt's also got his sister and his cousin that have actually flown in today to actually come and watch this game.
Oh, sensational.
Batting .462 on the regular season was Matt as he swings through this one from Simon.
He took a long, hard, flat swing at that one. He made contact. Who knows where that would have ended.
And as Matt was saying, 10 home runs, 45 RBIs for the season for Matt Helms. So it just shows you how much of an attacking threat he is. This one chopped towards second base. Should be a fairly easy play for D'Antonio, who boots it, puts it on the ground and creates the error.
Wow.
Well, there you go, an experienced player the likes of Trent D'Antonio, and how easily you can curse him. Should have been a fairly routine play for Trent, a player of Trent's experience and ability to be able to take that one, flick it across the first base for the out. But no, Trent boots it, puts it on the ground, creates the error, and all of a sudden, runners at the corners for Macarthur now, 1 out. Massive chance early in this game for the Orioles.
There is a noticeable difference with no Jacob Eunice tonight.
Yep.
Absolutely. They've had to reshuffle their infield a fair bit. This one is fouled out over the third base side and out of play. Shannon Hislop is in the batter's box now for the Orioles.
Of course, Jacob Eunice had just played for Australia in against Japan in that series over there as well. So a number of guys have been over there playing in the Australian side, which is very good for them. Hislop in there, drives one to centre field, but there's a man out there. It's Jackson White.
Should be good enough for a sack fly, though. He steadies on it, catches it. They can do nothing about Dane Wigg. And the Orioles lead.
So Jackson White takes the catch, but Dane Wigg crosses the plate as Cam just called it. They go ahead 1-0 early. Hislop out on a fly ball to centre field, so there's 2 out.
Good piece of hitting that from Shannon Hislop. Anything to the right side of the diamond or centre field in the air was going to be enough. Wigg runs very, very well, and that was certainly a deep enough fly ball from Shannon Hislop to score Dane Wigg without any concerns whatsoever. So the Orioles will play from in front as Shane Benson takes the first pitch from Simon up high for a ball.
Benson, another danger man, of course, in the Orioles lineup. Lots of experience. Has been the coach of the Orioles over the last couple of years as well.
Most would say he hadn't had one of his better seasons with the bat, but still batted an average of over 300, and that's with 100 plate appearances. So, that's a pretty handy average for a first-grade baseballer any given time. And some would say he'd have been a bit quieter with the bats this season.
Get your $1 million in the pros if you're batting over 300.
Yeah, not Benno.
Well, runner goes. There's trouble, and the ball's going to hit him in the middle of the back, and he's going to get back to first base. There was real trouble there as Matt Helms had broken towards second base. He almost picked something on Simon that he thought was a signal or a sign that he was off. And he just got the brakes applied in time and got back to first base safely there.
Matt is surprisingly quick for a catcher and a big guy.
So he settles down and takes his lead again as Brad Simon settles down into his rest. He comes to the plate, finds that outside corner again. The exact same outside corner that rang up Coco Johnson earlier in the at-bat in the inning. So Benson now with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes on him. There are 2 out, but Macarthur do have a run across the plate. That's a swing, and that will be all she wrote for Shane Benson. He will go down on strikes, and that will take care of the top of the first innings, but not before the Macarthur Orioles open the scoring in this one. They lead it 1-0 in a game that the Vikings must win.
And welcome back to the action here at Blacktown International Sports Park, where we head to the bottom of the first innings. Vikings coming to the plate, and lead off is Trent D'Antonio. Big lefty, big strong, just came back from Japan series as well, Australia v Japan, and he's a very talented baseballer, is Trent D'Antonio, and heaps of experience. Starting pitcher for the Orioles, Jeremy Gendelek. And the defensive lineup for the Orioles reads this way. In right field, it's Taka Hyodo. Taka Hyodo in right field. Coco Johnson in centre field. Matt Helms holds down left field. The shortstop is Bobby Tweet. At third base, Shane Benson. The second baseman is Pat Glover. At first base, Shannon Hislop. And the starting catcher for the Orioles, Dane Wigg. And as I said, the starting pitcher, Jeremy Gendelek.
You've got Brooke, Hunter and Bowen all watching from the Gold Coast. They're Orioles supporters.
Beautiful.
So, g'day, good evening to you. Hope you're enjoying a wonderful Saturday night up there on the Gold Coast. Plenty of things to do after this game finishes up there on the Gold Coast on a Saturday evening, that's for sure. As D'Antonio fouls one back to the net.
Certainly
Brookie,
did, big time.
Brookie will be looking at putting the kids to bed after this game.
If you want to send us a message on the SMS, the number is 0423 551195. 0423 551195. Send us a cheerio. We'll call you out and tell us which team you're fancying here tonight or which player you're following.
You can also send us a tweet at Summer of Baseball. Got the Twitter happening in front. I posted the lineups on there if you want to go and have a look at what the lineups are for both teams. Summer of Baseball. Give it a follow. You'll see the lineups. You'll see everything up on there. As D'Antonio tries to stay alive and does on that full count pitch. Again, we show a little bit of patience and a little bit of persistence. D'Antonio draws a base on balls, something that he has been very adept at doing over the years. And that lead-off position had more walks than any other in the Sydney Blue Sox lineup this season. And continues it here in the State League. Very, very patient, very, very clever batter is D'Antonio. That will bring Giulieri to the plate.
Certainly will. Lefty and lefty. Back-to-back lefties. Got a set of wheels as well, Giulieri. That's why he's out there in left field in defence.
Time called at first base. D'Antonio obviously not happy with something up there.
Couldn't see the sign.
Yeah, quite possibly correct. Probably couldn't have seen the sign from his base coach perhaps. So he called time, stepped it off. As Gendelek finds another strike. This time he's first on Giulieri. Lachlan Giulieri now. 1 ball, 1 strike. The leadoff runner, D'Antonio, drew the walk, stands at first base. Pitch is low. The ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike.
So Gendelek working very hard here with this runner on base. Always a danger man at first is Trent D'Antonio.
Giulieri batting 289 on the season. Takes another pitch which misses. 3 balls and a strike now for Giulieri, and the one thing that Jeremy Gendelek will not want to do is start the game with back-to-back walks. 3-1 pitches on the outside edge for a strike. That'll fill the count again. 3 balls and 2 strikes, nobody out. Interesting to see whether Trent D'Antonio, who has a very good baseball brain and a pretty decent set of wheels.
A very different start to this game than the second grade game we just witnessed.
Now they were swinging, it looked like they were swinging at flies and swatting things away in the second grade game. Very patient, very deliberate. And D'Antonio does go. This is a little flare into left field. He'll have to freeze. He will be out at left field, and a hard throw to first base. Not in time. D'Antonio's off the bag, but the first baseman didn't realise.
Wow.
Hislop was reaching out to try and get every last centimetre on a fantastic throw from Matt Helms. Took a great catch in left field, running forward into shallow left, and then fired a bullet across the diamond to a Hislop and only missed D'Antonio by half a step. But in his haste, D'Antonio overran first base, and Hislop didn't realise if he'd have wheeled around with the ball in his mitt, he might have got D'Antonio at first base. No damage done for Canterbury, though. D'Antonio stays at first, and Giulieri down on the fly to left field.
Heads up baseball from both sides here. That was brilliant from Matt Helms. What a throw from left field side all the way to his first baseman. That was excellent. And heads up from Trent D'Antonio, just knowing to hold and get back. And he knew he had to hustle. He knew that throw was coming.
Helmsy is actually a catcher.
Yeah, so he's got the strong arm.
He's got the strong arm, and
this one muscled hard straight at second base. They're going to try for D'Antonio again. They're not going to get him again. This was a line drive straight at Glover.
Oh, wow.
And Glover took a nice catch, whipped it straight to Hislop without any hesitation. They will get Rosen on the line drive. They will not get D'Antonio again. He survives at first base on a line drive, trying to double him up on the catch. And that will bring big guy Edmonds to the plate for the Vikings.
Wow, what a start to a game. Edmonds steps in. Here's a danger man.
Absolutely, with power to all parts of the field. Wind seems to have died off a little bit here at Blacktown, which will certainly help the hitters, as Gendelek fires a strike straight past Edmonds to start this at-bat. 2 out, runner at first base, no score on the board for the Vikings. Macarthur getting an early run in the top of the first to lead it 1-0. Gendelek inside, did he hit? No, it didn't hit Edmonds. It obviously hit the bat on a little check swing. Wasn't sure whether I wasn't sure whether it got him on the lead arm or whether it actually got through and got onto the bat. It actually got through and got onto either the knob of the bat or the bat itself. Either way, it's a foul ball, and Edmonds behind 0-2.
All three at home plate having a chat. Edmonds, Wigg. Played umpire Benny Nash.
0-2 pitch, they're looking like the outside edge. Fastball, outside edge, rings him up, and that's that bat broken. Snapped at the plate by Guy Edmonds. And the bat's going to be tossed from halfway across into the netting. And I think home umpire Ben Nash is going to have a chat to the Canterbury management about that. Just tell them to have a quiet word to Guy. But Guy struck out looking. That will end the first innings. 1 completed innings here at Blacktown International Sports Park. Macarthur lead at early doors, 1-0.
And welcome back to Blacktown International Sports Park. Cam and Harrow doing battle in the booth.
Just about to say top of the second innings, and the birthday boy in the box, Bobby Tweed Jr. steps up with those lovely gaiters slash, whatever you want, stirrups, whatever you want to call them, and wherever you're from, gaiters in the old days. But the birthday boy in the box, ready to have his first at-bat of the evening. Takes a called strike to start things off. Second pitch misses outside, 1-1 on Bobby Tweed. Bobby batting 2-4-3 on the regular season.
Bobby Tweed's family usually get in touch with us in the course of a game as well.
Yep, they're usually listening in somewhere, so either the SMS or on Twitter at Summer of Baseball, or the SMS number, which is 0423 551195. And Bobby Tweed, hard hit ball to the third baseman who can't handle it. Lennox comes up, fires it across the diamond, but not in time. Too hot to handle for Michael Lennox on that hard hit ball by the birthday boy, Bobby Tweed.
Well, Lennox went through all the actions and he thought he had the ball in his hand. And he looked, he's gone, it's not here, it's on the ground behind me.
And looks like it's gone straight up as an error too. Straight up on the board as an error, so that's 2 errors now committed by the Canterbury Vikings.
So, Tweed on base. First 2 innings, Orioles get a runner on base, the lead-off on. In the first innings, it was Dane Wigg, the lead-off, and eventually crossed the plate. Now, in the top of the second innings, it is Bobby Tweed.
We always say how important those lead-offs are to get on, because anything happens, you can manufacture runs, you can work a guy around. A pass ball, he's into scoring position. Anything happens, you're a bigger chance of scoring a run than you are if your first man gets out.
If you look at the statistics over the years, if you get your lead off on base, you've got a very high percentage chance of scoring a run.
I think we had those stats previously on hand. It was something like 65% more likely to 70% more likely to score a run in the innings if your lead off gets on. So there you go. So Kai Hislop into the batter's box now.
It's the old Jason Moyer adage, which is get them on, get them over, get them in.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. We saw anybody that watched the Team Australia versus Team Samurai Japan baseball series that was recently played over there in Japan. That's the adage of the Japanese baseball team. If they get a runner on first, they're just as likely to drop down a bunt to move him to second base straight away. Top of the first inning, they'll lay down a bunt to move a runner around into scoring position, and then back their later hitters to drive him in.
Fundamental baseball.
Especially in a big game like a grand final or a preliminary final, those runs on the board are worth their weight in gold. Hislop taking all the way on the 3-0 pitch to make it 3-1. It'd be massive if Kai Hislop gets a ball. They get runners at first and second with nobody out going into the bottom of their order. That might be the time when you would bunt Glover and then take the chances that Hiodo and Wigg might be able to drive in a run. That is high. It is no, it's not as high and inside. I thought it was a little bit high, a little bit inside. Kai was he was going off to first base too. He thought he was heading up that way.
He was going to holster the bat.
That will fill the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Now again, interesting to see what the coaches do. Full count. You take the risk of the strike them out, throw them out play, and send Bobby. They do. He gets a good jump, and Kai Hislop fouls it off.
Going back to Tucker coming up.
Yep.
Tucker had a very good night with the bat on Wednesday night. So, Tucker is a guy that will put the ball in play, always makes contact. One of those Japanese guys.
Slap hit.
Slap hit.
Yeah.
We saw how effective, again, going back to that Australia series was, where the Japanese, all they do is square the batter. A lot of their hits go to right field and centre field because all they're doing is laying the barrel on the bat. This one misses outside, and Kai Hislop will walk.
First walk issued by Brad Simon from the Vikings on the mound.
So Simon issues up his first walk, and all of a sudden the Macarthur Orioles, they threaten. More than happy to have the SMSs sent through. We thank you very much. Just pop your names on the bottom of them so we can say hello to you and read out the quotes should they be readable. Charging in from first base was Rose, and they were looking at the bunt from Glover. He holds back on that occasion.
Guy Edmonds held that pitch well until the umpire made his decision. He waited for it and helped Ben Nash make that call for a strike.
Interesting to see what Glover does this time. Again, corners are in. They are looking for a bunt from Glover. He doesn't offer much. He slaps at it and fouls it off. So he now falls behind 0-2. Now, whilst that doesn't necessarily take the bunt out of play, I believe if he hasn't squared up on the first two, there's no chance he's going to square up on the third one. If he was trying to drop a bunt down in the first two instances, then you might expect him to risk the third strike bunt.
There was actually an instance on Wednesday night where Jason actually put on a third strike bunt.
Yeah, okay. Happens a lot in the US college system. But they are coached regularly and frequently on bunting skills. There's a whole session in their training sessions with bunting every week.
Absolutely. It's one of those plays where you pull it out of the bag once in a while. If you're confident that the guy can lay the bunt down in play, then you can call it on him. There's the exact example. A snap throw up the line, but that's not going to help you when Rosen, the first baseman's, he's only about 40 feet away from home plate, and the base is 90 feet away from home plate. The runner trots back in there, not even having to slide back. Guy Edmonds, I'm not sure real happy about the fact that Rosen was well down the line.
Interesting. It seems as though the crowd has built up a little now as we get into the game.
Absolutely. All the third graders and that from Macarthur have come back and they've turned up ready to support their team.
I think they've been away for dinner up the road somewhere.
Rudy Hilaricella, I believe.
2-2 pitch. They're going to bunt him and he's going to bunt it foul. So that will be all she wrote for Pat Glover. He will try to bunt on the third strike. He will bunt it foul and he will be the first out here in the top of the second innings.
So still two runners out there, though, for the Macarthur Orioles, and pressure on the Vikings' defence here as Taka Hiodo steps in.
Now, for your number 9 hitter on a season, he had 75 at-bats and still batted 240 on the season with 13 RBIs on the season. That shows you, even though batting in the 9 slot, he is still a dangerous hitter for this Macarthur Orioles lineup. Fouls off the first pitch he sees from Simon. Simon has a good long look at second base. Bobby Tweet out there at second base. Comes to the plate. Inside on Hiodo, who just arches his back.
He really took his time with that pitch, didn't he?
He had a good long look at Bobby Tweet. I'm not sure if he was expecting maybe D'Antonio to come in on the blind side and maybe try and keep Tweed closer or give him a pick-off option. Bannon, the shortstop, trying to play in behind Tweed. That misses well outside from Simon.
Bobby isn't known for his speed, so...
Yeah, it's not like you need to hold him that close, is it? Yeah, honestly. Let's have a look on the season. Let's see if he's tried to swipe any bags. He's had...
Trent's just having a word in his ear now.
He had 6 attempts. Got half of them. So... 50% on trying to swipe bags. But I don't think you'll be trying to swipe third on the arm of Guy Edmonds.
No, and Bobby's one of those guys that since he's come over from America, he has put on a little bit of beef. So has slowed down quite significantly.
He's living in a good paddock,
That's it, he's enjoyed the Australian lifestyle. Yeah, the barbecues and the social gatherings. Simon, this one is fouled off by Hiodo. Straight back to make the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's one away. Runners at first and second. And Macarthur lead this one 1-0.
I think D'Antonio just wanders into second base and whispers in his ear, if you get that far off second again, we're going to get you. Just a little warning shot.
Plenty of room out there, Bobby Tweed, at the moment. Neither of the pivots really interested. 2-2 pitch from Simon on its way, and it is slapped into the 5-6 hole. A base hit for Hiodo. Bobby Tweed is going to be held at third as Giulieri was charging in on it. Picked it up well, so the runners will hold. Hiodo with a base hit to left field, advances Hislop to second, advances Tweed to third, and the bases are full for the Orioles, and they head back to the top of their lineup.
Only one out here in the top of the second innings with loaded. And we go back to the top of the order, as Cam just said, with Dane Wigg, who hit a double to 7 in his first appearance, leading off.
And Wigg's one of those guys that's actually got a lot of sneaky power. I think he had 4 home runs for the season also.
Yep, that's correct.
He sort of doesn't look it, does he?
Oh.
A triple and 6 doubles. Big breaking pitch from Simon is good for a strike.
Matt, you talked about Hiodo and what he can do with a bat. He just did it. Slapped it through the hole.
Mate, been watching him do it all season.
Pressure now on Simon and the Orioles. The infield plays in. Another breaking pitch, and again, Wigg on this occasion chops it foul. So Simon gets another strike. It makes it 0-2 on Dane Wigg.
This is a huge opportunity for the Orioles early in the game.
Base hit here will probably score 2. Hislop runs pretty well from second base. He takes big strides, and if he can get it to the right side of the outfield, maybe even centre field, we might even see 2 runs scored here. But a big 0-2 pitch for the Vikings and Simon. It's a fastball on the outside edge, hit hard but fouled. Wigg was all over that fastball, but just couldn't quite square it up and get it into play.
That outside edge is the one that Ben Nash has been calling as well, so he's just defending that call.
Well, he rung Johnson up on it. He rung Edmonds up on it. 0-2 pitch, breaking pitch, straight into the back of Dane Wigg, and there's a run. A hit by pitch, and Dane Wigg is never going to get out of the way of those with bases loaded, and why would you? He walks. That will walk in Bobby Tweed. Around to third goes Hislop. Up to second goes Hiodo. The Orioles keep the bases loaded. They score a run. They lead it 2-0. A very dangerous Coco Johnson to the plate.
And this is what the guys do. They build pressure. They load the bases up for their big boys, and Coco's one of those guys.
So a Wigg walk early in the game, even though it was a hit by pitch.
Still a big walk.
Good one, Cam.
Still a Wigg walk, and we've seen many of them over the years. Coco Johnson gets a ball, the first pitch he sees, gets a fastball, goes over it, and fouls it off into the grandstand. And again, we see the situation where the ball catches the back net, drops down, and nearly hits an unsuspecting child who was watching the game down in that decking seating. Maybe somebody should have a work to occupational health and safety about that netting situation, because that's a little bit dangerous. That kid was doing everything right watching the game with his dad, and that ball came back and only missed him by a matter of inches, hit the railing right behind his head.
The net certainly stops it.
Simon to Johnson, 2-1 pitch. One out loaded, bases ripped up the middle. That'll score 1. Hislop scores. Rounding is Hiodo. He will come to the plate. He will score. A fumble in centre field will allow Johnson in with a double. Wow. And 2 more on the board for the Orioles.
Wow, they've cracked it open. The Orioles have cracked that open. That was as hard a hit ball as you could ask for. Only a single for Coco Johnson until Jackson White had the ball in his hand, turned to throw, and it fell out of the back of his hand. And that allowed Johnson to get into second base as well.
And this is what the guys have done all season. They just build pressure.
And it's relenting pressure. Everyone in the lineup is pretty much batting 250 or better. There is just no relief from this Orioles outfit. Simon in real trouble. This is launched. It's deep to right. Tailing. Foul ball. It had the length. It got out to the wall, but just continued to tail on this little bit of a breeze and goes foul. A well-hit ball from Matt Helms. That had a chance.
Wow.
Well, that would have been a massive play, a 3-run home run if that had got out of here.
Number 3 batter in the lineup, and it was out there, just launched.
Helms goes after it the other way, fouls it off into Duck Creek, or in fact, that's probably in the car park. That might be a souvenir ball on the front seat of somebody's car out there. That was travelling.
Helms has actual power to all parts of the field.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a moment, having seen that swing down the right field line. I don't think Simon will be coming inside with a fastball on him again in a hurry.
Quick hands turned on it.
As you say, anyone that's hit 10 home runs in the season in first grade with some of the sizes of the diamonds that they play on, they have to have decent power.
Gee, came inside again there, but very, very tight.
And low. He wasn't going to give him anything to swing at.
So Brad Simon and Guy Edmonds, the catcher for the Vikings, need to really work something out here.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Runners at second and third. Hit hard down the first base line, but fouled. So Helms hitting the ball hard. Just at the moment, he can't find a hole anywhere to put that ball into. The moment he keeps hitting them fouls, left and right, but still putting plenty of pressure on Brad Simon and the Vikings.
Certainly giving the Vikings something to chase. They've got numbers to chase now, and it's only the top of the second inning. A lot of baseball left in this game. It is a regulation 9 innings baseball game here at Blacktown International Sports Park, where you're listening to the Summer of Baseball. There's a hit.
It's a high chopper to D'Antonio. He'll go to first base for the out. That's out number 2, but it will drive in a run. Dane Wigg will break from third base, and he will cross the plate to make it the 4th run of the inning and the 5th run of the game for the Orioles. And Helms will get another RBI, and that will be out number 2 for the Orioles. Coco Johnson goes to third base on the play, and they cross their 5th run of the match.
The threat's not over.
Certainly not. Hislop, again, batting in the 4 slot. He has good power as well, batting .327 on the season with over 100 at-bats. Now, 18 RBIs himself with a home run, a triple, and half a dozen doubles. He takes a strike for 1 ball and 1 strike.
8th batter to the plate in this second inning. 8th batter to the plate.
That is high and outside. 2 balls and a strike.
It'll be interesting to see as we get deeper into this 9-inning game.
This one hit hard towards first base. It's going to have to be a pitcher's cover coming across nicely as Simon to get a little bit of help. And that will be all she wrote for the Macarthur Orioles. Hislop will go down on the 3-1, which is the pitcher's cover from the first baseman for the 3rd out, but not before a little bit of damage is done. And that is 4 runs on the board. Welcome back to Blacktown International Sports Park, and that was a song from one of our loyal listeners, a request for Harrow for a song called Short People. I don't know about short people, but certainly short arms, if nothing else, for Harrow there on our right. Of course, Short People by Randy Newman. And we're underway here, bottom of the 2nd inning, and it is Rob Reeves to lead things off for the Vikings. Reeves then due up is Lennox and White, and Gendlick wasting no time on the mound for the Orioles now with a big 5-run lead. He goes straight to work, 2 straight down the chute on Reeves to lead 0-2 in that battle.
And this is what Jeremy does. You know, Jeremy gets on the mound, he throws a lot of strikes, he works very quickly, and you know, people haven't worked that out. That
there you go, 3 pitches, 3 strikes. There goes Rob Reeves.
People need to, work out. You need to slow Jeremy down, break his rhythm. Nobody this season has been able to break his rhythm.
And just on his season to date, in 14 appearances, 13 starts, he's got an ERA of 2.88 with a 4-2 win-loss record. So pretty impressive. And as you say that, on the strikeouts versus base on balls, you're talking 83 strikeouts to 30 walks. So there you go in terms of he gets in there and throws strikes. That's certainly evident by the numbers we've seen for Jeremy Gendlick this season. Starts off with a strike on Michael Lennox. This one is high and inside, high and tight for 1 ball, 1 strike. Canterbury really need to get back into this ball game right here, right now. Get a little bit of momentum back on their side of the diamond, because at the moment everything sits in the dugout of the Macarthur Orioles. It's been a screaming start for Macarthur to lead at 5-0. You put another 2 or 3 runs on the board in the top of the third, and this one might also already be over.
This is what they do. They build pressure. They make you chase them. They love to play from in front.
Well, they're in front tonight, 5-0. As Lennox fouls another one off, falls behind 1 and 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Gendlick looking for his second strikeout of the innings and third of the night. He got Guy Edmonds looking. He got Rob Reeves swinging. Now he has Michael Lennox behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gendlick taking a lot of time, goes into his wind-up now. 1-2 pitch is right down the chute for strike 3. Lennox just looks back at the umpire in disbelief and wanders off to the dugout. Looked a good pitch from down here, or from up here, and down there it just looked like it was a ball inside the outside edge, and we know that that Ben Nash, the home plate umpire, has been calling that outside edge, so no real reason for Lennox to let that go, and he let it go. He paid the price.
Now, and look, Nash has been really consistent with that outside edge.
He's called that pitch 3 times tonight. 3 blokes have looked back at him, but they've got to learn, if he's going to call it, you've got to protect it.
100%.
I said you can't ask for an umpire to be anything more than consistent on that outside edge, and Ben Nash has been so far in this game. That misses upstairs. 2 balls to lead things off for Jackson White. So 6 retired in order after walking Trent D'Antonio to start the game off, and on that he will issue up a walk to Jackson White. So 3 strikeouts and a couple of walks for Jeremy Gendlick. It's a 2-out walk to put White aboard, and that will bring Tyson Mangione up to the plate for the Vikings, their number 8 hitter. The Orioles don't want to give the Vikings any breathing room at all here. They just want to slowly strangle them. Gendlick misses downstairs. Grind them into the dirt if you may, if you wish. But they'll be looking to get out of this innings here. Get back into the dugouts with their bats in their hand and apply a little bit more pressure onto the Vikings. Gendlick just losing his zone a little bit at the moment. 2 balls after 4 straight to White. So 6 balls in a row he's thrown after striking out Lennox. And Jason Moyer going to come out and just have a word to Jeremy Gendlick. And just, as you said, Matt, he's going to slow him down, tell him to take a breath, relax, throw strikes. We're 5 in front.
I was just going to comment on his fast kick, his action. Once he decides that he's going to throw the ball, he's got a really fast kick action. Lift down really fast.
Jeremy hasn't thrown for about 3 weeks. So Jeremy's keen to throw. He's keen to get out there and keen to get this game going. And that's what Jeremy does. But yeah, he does. Jeremy does get excited.
Yeah.
Jason needs to go out there and settle him down and say, listen, mate, get back on the same page as Wig and, just keep pounding the zone like you've been doing.
Well, that's it. He's got a 5-0 lead. The last thing he wants to do is put 3 or 4, 2 or 3 runners on because of balls, base on balls, and then one lucky hit here or there, and all of a sudden it's back to 5-2, 5-3, and Canterbury are back in the game. There's that outside edge called again. The Canterbury hitters are going to have to adjust.
He's got the number 8 batter. Just needs to work him over. He's got 2 out, like you said, Cam.
This one hit into right field. It's a good base hit. Mangione gets it out there, and Hiodo scoots around. Can do nothing about stopping Jackson White heading around to third base. And Mangione with a good piece of hitting. Just stayed on it, drove it into right field, picks himself up a base hit, and gives the Vikings runners at the corners with 2 away.
And that's all it takes. Bat behind the ball on that fastball, wherever it comes in, defend that plate. Daniel Bannon steps in now, the shortstop for the Vikings.
The number 9 hitter in the order for the Vikings.
They're chasing big numbers here, though. 5 runs behind.
Batting .294 on the season was Daniel Bannon, and that's in over 100 at-bats as well. So nice job considering he's the number 9 hitter. Again, still has plenty to offer for the Vikings. Fouls off the first pitch he sees from Gendlick. Gendlick fires again, just misses downstairs. Line was good. Just couldn't get it up high enough to interest Ben Nash in calling the strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jackson White stands at third. Tyson Mangione at first. This is swung on, chopped down the third base line. It's fair. It's going to be played by Benson, and he's not going to have any play at all. He knocks it down, keeps it on the infield, but that will be all. And Jackson White will score the first run of the game for the Canterbury Vikings. He comes home and crosses the plate on what would probably be scored a hit. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes up on the board. I believe it'll be a hit to Daniel Bannon. Certainly hasn't gone up as an error, so we're going to score it a hit here, and that will be an RBI hit for Bannon as he drives in Jackson White. Mangione to second. There are 2 out here, bottom of the second inning, and it is now 5-1. Macarthur over Canterbury.
And you can't give Canterbury a sniff. You know, these guys will not give up.
They play a lot on adrenaline, the Vikings. If they get that little bit of momentum, then yeah, they will all of a sudden pick their tails up and they will come harder again at you. And as you said, you know, they just keep playing on spirit and adrenaline, and you want to not let them back into this game as we flip the lineup over. Head back to the top. Trent D'Antonio into the box for the Vikings. He walked his first at bat this evening.
Certainly did. Was left on base. The next 3 batters were out in order.
Gendlick needs, and the Macarthur Orioles need a big out here. Oh, nice change up. D'Antonio watching it all the way for a called strike. 0-2 now. Two away. Runners at first and second. Bottom of the second innings, 5-1. The Orioles lead Canterbury in the early stages of this preliminary final, Game 2. Fastball fouled off by D'Antonio. Repeating, Macarthur won Game 1 on Wednesday night. It is a best-of-3 series. So if Macarthur win this one tonight, they are through to the grand final to face the Central Coast Marlins. If Canterbury win, we rock back up tomorrow morning and do it all again.
One of the good things I like about this postseason this season in the State League is that 7 of the 9 clubs have teams in grand finals. 7 out of the 9 clubs. There's only 2 clubs without a team in the grand finals across all grades, all 4 grades. I think that's a pretty good effort from all clubs, and shows a good indication of the strength of the league as well and the spread of the talent across the area.
Absolutely right, Harrow, as D'Antonio fouls another one off. And I'm sure the clubs that didn't have teams in this season will be working out how they can build towards next season and make sure at least a couple of their teams, whether it be the youth teams or the senior teams, be a little bit more competitive. Antonio fouls another one off, this one into the beer garden. Benson back to the fence, has no play. Takes one hop off the beer garden and ends up in Duck Creek.
Well, there's no ducks out there. I've never seen a duck out in Duck Creek.
Haven't you?
No.
Yeah, look after.
I don't spend much time down there.
Fair enough, that's probably why. So we will reset, we will do it all again. And D'Antonio will face another 0-2 pitch with 2 out, runners at first and second base. Antonio having a very good year this year with the Blue Sox and Team Australia. 0-2 pitch is high, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Doing a good job of mixing up his Canterbury representation with his state representation and then his national representation. Has done a good job coming into Team Australia. Didn't really get in there till late in his career, but once he got that first start, has really held on to that utility position with both hands and is indispensable to Team Australia. 0-2 pitch slapped into centre left, tailing away from both. It's in for a base hit. It will score another run as rounding will come Mangione. He will score. Staying at third base will be Bannon. D'Antonio will stay at first, but the hit to centre left scores another run. And the Vikings, they inch closer, make it 5-2 now.
Mangione scores another Vikings run on the hit to left field by Trent D'Antonio. Now batting.
Very interesting to see no action in the Macarthur pen at the moment. They certainly won't panic, but 5-2 is a different story to 5-0. The Vikings back in this as Gendlick finds a strike on the outside edge.
A bit early for bullpen, I think, Cam, from both clubs here. I don't know how deep they've got in their bullpen, but they'll want to be hanging on to it for as long as they can.
Well, they'll have everybody available, Harrow. It's preliminary final number 2. Everyone will be available.
Elimination game.
As I said, Canterbury will throw every arm that they've got, just to stay alive, and I'm sure Macarthur will do the same to win tonight. So 0-1, Gendlick to Giulieri. This one fouled off, 0-2 now. Gendlick just needs to put one of these guys away. He's had at least 2 strikes on the last 3 batters and just hasn't been able to put one away yet.
And Giulieri flew out to left field, opposite field for him as a left-handed hitter in his first appearance.
Yeah, it was a little bleeder that Matt Helms did a good job in charging in and getting. So runners in the corners, 2 away, 0-2 pitch on its way. It's a flare out that way again. Helms dives and comes up with it. Great catch, Matt Helms, out there in left field. He had to lay out full stretch forward and to his right, and he comes up with the catch in left field. Certainly saved 1 run and gets his team out of a bit of a jam, does Matt Helms, with a great catch on a little flare from Giulieri. And that is all she wrote here in the second innings. Not before the Vikings add a couple. And after 2 completed innings here at Blacktown International Sports Park, it is 5-2, the Orioles over the Vikings. At Blacktown International Sports Park for the top of the 3rd inning. 1 pitch, Benson goes crack, it's deep, it's back to the warning track and taken 2 steps onto the warning track by Giulieri. Benson got plenty onto it, but straight into the teeth of what wind there is left here at Blacktown International Sports Park, and he came up about 5 yards short of a lead-off dinger for Benson.
What a long hit for Benno. He didn't muck around with that one. He went out there hungry. And Giulieri took it really on the edge of the warning track. As you said, not a long way from the fence there, and Benno thought he had something going for him, but Giulieri all the better for it and takes a nice clean catch. That brings to the plate Bobby Tweet.
And Bobby Tweet takes the first pitch for a called strike.
That hit from Benno goes in the book as a fly ball out 7.
Yeah, fly to 7. Doesn't do it justice, really, does it?
Really doesn't.
Maybe we should be able to put extra letters in, like an LF7, like a long fly to 7.
Long fly.
But in the end, Giulieri in good position to take the catch. This one hit hard to left centre, but again, Giulieri in good position. Takes the catch pretty comfortably in the end, and that's all the action happening out in left field for the Vikings. Giulieri with a couple of catches. And a couple of shout-outs here on the Twitter. We'll say hello to the Smith and Gillies families who are watching, who are at the actual game. And the rest of the Smith family at home in the USA watching. With the Fenimore family. Of course, Caleb having a big season last year here with the Vikings. Watching in the USA. So a big shout-out to the Smith and Gillies families. Oh, Harrow wants to say hello to a mate in Queensland, does he?
Glenn Long, choosing a lot of our music tonight, I believe. Longy from up there in beautiful Brisbane, northern suburbs of Brisbane.
Ty Hislop in the batter's box has a swing at that one. And he's going to be called forward at first base by Bobby Dawes. No problems with that at all. Count to 1 ball and 1 strike on Hislop. 2 away here in the top of the third. Both of them fly balls to 7. That one misses upstairs from Simon. All of a sudden you can just smell Canterbury have got a little bit of belief in themselves after those 2 runs. And that might have been hit out of them if Benson could have flied the fence with that first pitch, but it wasn't to be, as this one's popped up behind first base. It's in foul territory. Going back is Robson. He catches,
over the fence.
catches it as he tumbles over the fence, holds it up to show the umpire he's got it, gives a high five to one of the kids, pops back up onto the infield, and that will be it for the Orioles. They will go down in order 1, 2, 3 on the foul fly ball. Great catch by Brett Rosen there over the first base fence. And that is it for the Orioles in the top of the third.
Almost sat on the fence, and the weight of the ball actually pushed him over, balanced him into the fence and slipped over onto the grass in there, and all his teammates came and rescued him back over again. But excellent effort, never took his eyes off the ball again, and as he got closer to where the fence was, just slowed himself up a little bit to take the buffering off that fence. Great work, fantastic job, and good catch, Brett Rosen. They have a bit of momentum, the Vikings, and let's see how they come.
And back here at Blacktown International Sports Ground, you are tuned into the Summer of Baseball, proudly brought to you by Sports Broadcasting Australia. Big Cam Hickson, Paul Harrodine, Matt Givon, and PMAC Paul McCulloch on the job for this Saturday night here in the west of Sydney. And this game has taken a decided turn in the last innings and a half. All the momentum moving towards the Canterbury Vikings. They were down 5-0. They're back to 5-2. And here we are in the bottom of the third inning. Brett Rosen, after that catch in foul territory and flipping over the fence down there on the first base side, he gets the bat in his hand and goes to work. Foul tips that one into the glove of Dane Wigg. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count on a Mr. Rosen now. As we say a big hello to Dave, the Fact Controller, who's lobbed up here in the booth to say hello to everybody. Long time no see. Hope everything's well. Has 1 ball fouled off there by Brett Rosen to keep the count at 2-2. Yeah, unfortunately we haven't got a 4th headset plugged in at the moment, but we'll get around to that later.
I can give him the wireless mic contraption. He can set all that up and then talk as much as he wants.
2-2 pitch to Rosen, fouled off over the first base side. That'll get out of the arena, and it'll end up out on Entrance Road, coming into Blacktown International Sports Park. Be a nice souvenir for one of the kids running around out there.
Out there.
Plenty of kids in tonight, which is good to see. Another 2-2 pitch. This one fouled off to the back netting.
3 of those kids are Nash's kids.
So we don't count them?
No.
Okay, we take that back. So there's maybe dozens of kids here now then, if we discount Nash's kids.
Actually out at a training session this morning with Nash with these young Little League majors that play their grand final next weekend. And Benny was going through some hitting with them. Always interesting to see an umpire hit.
It's often not a pretty sight.
Should know where the strike zone is.
3-2 pitch on its way, lifted into centre field. Back goes Johnson. He has a track on it. Takes it very, very comfortably out there in centre field. Moves very, very nicely, does Coco Johnson. Got himself in very good position early, and then just watched it come down into his mitt for the first out here in the bottom of the third inning.
He's a guy who really loves
That was another one I thought that Brett Rosen launched that, but the atmosphere in the air must just be holding him up or making him drop or something. I don't know. But it seemed to go a lot shorter than it looked when coming off the bat.
Yeah, it didn't sound that well hit, Harrow, off live, but as you said, it sort of gets up into this breeze, which we say is blowing in from left field, and just tailed into the glove nicely for Johnson. That will bring Edmonds to the plate. He struck out looking his first time and destroyed his bat, so he has a new piece of lumber. See how this one treats him. See whether or not this one can wrap itself around the baseball and give him some sort of base hit, get him back on track for the evening.
No, actually, the last couple of seasons I was looking after Edo's with some bats, but obviously not doing as much with bats anymore. Concentrating more on the broadcasting side of things. So Edo's just getting his bats from somebody else. Obviously, they're making a lot of money off him.
Last one broke.
I think Edo's has broken more bats over his knee or on the home plate rather than actually when he's swinging them.
I agree with that comment. I think there's plenty more have been snapped over the knee or snapped at home plate than have snapped due to a baseball striking them. But that being the case, he falls behind 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jeremy Gendlek. Macarthur need a quick inning, a 1-2-3 inning, just to halt the momentum of the Vikings, and that was looking for that outside edge. Missed it by a couple of inches. We've got a pretty good view of the outside edge from up here, and it was outside enough that Ben Nash wasn't going to call that one. The count to 2-2. That one's closer. Misses upstairs. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yep, absolutely upstairs, that one. And he's gone back to that very quick leg action again, starting to rush with his pitches.
That for direction was much, much better from Gendlek. He just couldn't quite get it down onto the belt buckle of Edmonds. Full count pitch. On its way. Payoff pitch is high. Ball 4. Edmonds walks. The bat survives.
Okay, so Vikings with a runner at first base now with only 1 out here. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Can they chip a couple of more runs back? It's only a 3-run ball game now. It looked like it was going to get away from them in the top of the 2nd innings for a little while. But now we've got a runner on. That will give them that little bit of extra boost in their momentum and their enthusiasm, and they will chase this now. Rob Reeves, the designated hitter, at the plate.
Yeah, certainly from the bottom of that 2nd innings, Harrow, the momentum has all been the Vikings. They've really got back on top. They scored those 2 runs, got themselves back in the game, and then closed Macarthur down 1-2-3 in quick time. So they are on top at the moment, even though they trail by 3 on the board. Macarthur just need to stop, get back into the dugouts, make things stationary again, as this one's hit hard into centre right. It's going to tail. Johnson on the run, on the catch. Thanks for coming. Look at the wheels on Coco Johnson. If you don't mind, he had 30 metres to make up on a tailing ball and made it easily.
Wow. There's some good outfield work today in this game, but in 2nd grade as well. Outfielders doing a sensational job, covering some metres. And
Coco's done it all season. He has robbed so many guys of hits all season, with his range, his arm. He's just one of those guys who's just a pleasure to have sitting in the clubhouse.
Makes it so much easier on your team. Jeremy Gendlek sees that ball come off the bat, sees it tail, thinks, oh no, I've given up a 2-out hit to the alley. Edmonds will be on 3rd, and I'm in a little bit of danger here, but Coco with his speed gets across there, makes the catch, and Gendlek goes, oh, well, there's an out. You beaut. And gets a little bit of confidence hopefully back, and let's see where he goes from there.
Let's see what Michael Lennox can do at the plate now, the number 43 and 3rd baseman for the Vikings. Let's see if he can keep this innings going with 2 out.
Don't be surprised if you see Edmonds with a delayed steal.
This one lifted into centre field. So it's only going to get into the little blooping area, the Bermuda Triangle. Bobby Tweed was heading out. Pat Glover thought he might have got to it. He gave it up. Coco Johnson couldn't get to it either. And it just bleeds in for a base hit for Lennox to centre field. Edmonds to 2nd base. So a 2-out single to Lennox will get him to 1st base. Canterbury now with runners at 1st and 2nd. 2 away here, bottom of the 3rd. They threaten again as Jackson White heads to the plate. So White steps in now, represents the tying run. Waits the first pitch, misses downstairs for a ball.
Walked in his last appearance.
And was driven in by Daniel Bannon for the first run of the game for Canterbury. He would have loved to cross the plate in this innings. That would be a massive boost for Canterbury if he crosses the plate. Swing and a miss from Jackson White. Good pitch from Gendlick, low and outside. Difficult place for a lefty to be able to pull hit. He settles again now for a 1-1 pitch. 2 out, 2 on. Swing and a miss again. Jackson White looking like he wants to pull hit. Getting around really early and looking like he wants to drive to right field. And again, Gendlick finding that bottom left, bottom outside location. And White comes up empty again. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Jackson White. You've got to stay out there, don't you? Maybe change the pace a little bit, but you've got to stay low and outside. He does again, gets the swing again. White goes down on strikes. Gendlick gets himself out of a little bit of a jam. 2 left stranded there at the bottom of the third, and we are done through 3 completed innings here at Blacktown International Sports Park, where the Macarthur Orioles lead the Canterbury Vikings by 5 runs to 2.
Sports Park, where we're looking at the preliminary final game number 2 between the Canterbury Vikings and the Macarthur Orioles. Orioles leading this game 5 runs to 2 for those that have just joined us. Stepping in, pinch hitter Jesse Lynch launches one off the first pitch from Brad Simon, and that gets launched into left field to be caught by Lachlan Giulieri. So Giulieri comes into that game, takes a nice catch. And again, Lynch, he just liked that first pitch. It was right there in the zone. He thought he could get it through, but he just did not. Came in as a pinch hitter, but he is the first out. Fly ball to position 7 in left field. 1 up, 1 down, and that brings to the plate Taka Hiodo.
I think you'll see Jesse go over to second base.
Okay, he's replaced Pat Glover, the second baseman.
So probably just a straight swap, hopefully. We will have a look when they take the field. As Hiodo, who grounded to left field, had a hit through the 5-6 hole and drove in a run.
We hardly got time to get Jesse Lynch's name out before he hit that ball and got the out. Brad Simon throws one wide out of the zone there. And he knew where it went after it left his hand. He just looked up and thought, oh, lost control of that one.
Got a feeling that might be 2 balls, Harold. I think he's thrown 2 outside to Hiodo. He has.
Yes, it is.
Yep, beautiful. Scoreboard just catching up after the change of innings. In fact, it's 4 balls. It was 3 straight, and then that one they changed 4.
There we go.
I knew there was certainly a pitch earlier that we'd missed, but we'd obviously missed another one. So 4 straight balls to Taka Hiodo. He will head up to first base. And again, we know he's a little bit dangerous on the base pads. Has plenty of speed.
There's some action up in the Canterbury
bullpen. They're sending somebody up to warm up. Taka Hiodo's had 5 attempts to steal base and has been successful in 4 of them.
Whoa.
So an 80% base stealer.
On a guy like Edmonds, I don't think that's going to be the case.
You don't want to give up an easy out, do you, with second base? You know that Edmonds has got an arm on him.
Back to the top of the order with Dane Wigg.
But also, if you're smart in the batting box, you can also put Guy Edmonds off on certain pitches because he is so keen to get up and maybe snap up the line at first base or throw over to second base. Some of those low pitches, if you swing through them or something like that and just put a bit of bat in his eye line, you can sometimes get a pass ball out of Guy.
Yeah, right. All that little gamesmanship. If you can do that to put somebody off where it just won't get the money where they want it.
If it advances your runner up to second base, well, that's fantastic. That's the whole art of your at-bat is to move him up one spot. Then if you can get the ball on the right side of the diamond, you move him across to third base and you've done everything your coach could ask. You've moved him around 2 bases. You've lost 1 out. A sac fly scores him.
And there's also some action in the Orioles pen.
Yep, there is indeed.
I believe it looks like from that weird camera. Is it Mitch Little, I think?
I'll have a look for you there if Harrow takes up the bit of the ball by
ball. That would be interesting. Brad Simon gets his signals off Guy Edmonds again, looking in very, very hard. And Brad Simon takes that stance while he gets his signals. A little bit unusual, but he gets that pitch in now fast, missing the outside. Sometimes he just tempts the umpire to get those ones that just that little bit further off the outside edge of the plate, but he doesn't get them. Ben Nash has been very consistent behind home plate tonight.
Yeah, good set of eyes on you there, Matt. It is, in fact, Mitch Little.
I could tell by the arm angle.
Let's see if I can find who's warming
and
up.
That one gets driven centre left field, but getting across to it from centre field, Jackson White takes a sensational running catch again. These centre fielders tonight from each club doing a wonderful job with ground coverage. Mind you, behind Jackson White was Lachlan Giulieri, who was certainly there in backup position anyway, just in case. But Dane Wigg out on a fly ball to centre field, and that is the second out on the Orioles here in the top of the 4th inning.
Jaden Bastow doing the warming up for the Vikings in their bullpen.
Coco Johnson at the plate, strides in there for the Orioles now. Runner at first is Taka Hiodo.
This is where on the occasion where you might send Hiodo if you get a favourable count for Johnson to swing at. Just purely and simply with 2 down, if you start the next innings with Johnson, well, maybe that's no massive loss. Takes a pitch there for a called strike.
Yeah, and that's that slot that's been called all night across the black edge of the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's a little bit too far outside from Simon. He was looking for that outside edge again, and he just couldn't find it on that occasion. Coco Johnson with a base hit and a strikeout looking. Takes the 3rd pitch low and outside, and that will make it 3 balls and 1 strike. Tough position here for Brad Simon. Doesn't want to issue a 2-out walk to Johnson and put a runner in scoring position with Matt Helms coming to the plate. Seen how hard Matt Helms hits the ball. 3-1 pitch is down the gut and is hit straight at third baseman Lennox, who plucks it.
He certainly did. He even had to look in his glove to make sure it was still in there.
Oh, it was coming hard, and Lennox just put the glove in the way, and the ball slammed into the glove. The glove wrapped around the ball, and that was all she wrote for Coco Johnson. Out on the line, drive to third base. That is the 3rd out of the top of the 4th inning. Macarthur don't add any to the scoreboard.
And welcome back to the bottom of the fourth innings here at Blacktown International Sports Park. Leading off for the Vikings, Tyson Mangione at the plate now, right fielder for the Vikings. And no changes in the defensive lineups that we have identified as yet, none indicated to us by the umpire.
There should have been the change at second base, Harrow, which was Jesse Lynch, who came into bat
For Pat Glover.
in that last innings, and the first out in that last innings for Pat Glover. So it certainly looks like Jesse Lynch out there at second base. So that looks like the only change.
Straight swap, number 33, Jesse Lynch.
This one lifted out into right field. Takahioto has a nice little read on it, takes the comfortable catch out there in right field. That will retire Mangione, and the first out here in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Hiodo with another outfielder with a good set of wheels, covers a lot of ground and takes a neat catch. That brings to the plate for the Vikings Daniel Bannon, their shortstop. We'll see what young Bannon can do here. They've had momentum, hot and cold, the Vikings, so far through the first three innings. The second was very good for them, of course, scoring 2 runs.
Lots of messages and tweets coming in through the SMS number and our Twitter handle. We'll get to one after this at bat.
Ground ball, shortstop, Bobby Tweet gets it across to his first baseman, Shannon Hislop, and they get the out on a charging Daniel Bannon. But a regulation 6-3 ground ball.
Somewhat prophetic that Shannon Hislop digs that one up out of the dirt for Bobby Tweet, because one of the tweets is about Shannon Hislop, just asking Matt about his opinion as to why Shannon Hislop in particular amongst some of the Orioles haven't represented at higher levels, even though that they've had years and years of quality service for these Macarthur Orioles.
Look, I don't really think it's a question I can answer, to be honest with you. Look, Shannon's a great guy, great competitor. Yeah, look, Shannon has had some really good years, but I'm not sure if it's Shannon's availability. I'm not sure if Shannon wants to play at that level.
Could also be the competition around that first base position as well. There's been some pretty top-line players
we've
there.
had blokes like Josh Dean leading the league in hitting over the years at first base. D'Antonio's played there a little bit, and we've had a few imports come into play in first base. So,
I do know that Shannon did show up for the open trials for the Blue Sox this year.
Okay, he put his hand up, and that's the most important thing, is you get in there and have a go.
And look, he had a go. He was unsuccessful, so obviously Shannon's gone back and had a look at why he was unsuccessful, and maybe next year he may be there. But to answer the question, I have no idea why Shannon hasn't been selected. But obviously, he turned up to the open trials this year. He was unsuccessful, so. It is what it is.
Okay, yeah, that's how it works. That's how selection trials work.
And you just don't know if he wasn't just the fit for the team this season with, the way that they were selecting players, etc., etc. But that doesn't detract from the last couple of seasons, especially with the Orioles. He's just had a couple of fantastic years for Macarthur down there since they won the comp. Was that a couple of years ago now?
And look, they had a quality first base guy with Josh Dean. Then, with obviously Josh doing his ACL.
This one, D'Antonio gets a little flare over the head of Bobby Tweed out into centre left. Trent D'Antonio has his second base hit of the night.
So nice rip there. He fouled off the previous pitch with a check swing over the back of the third base grandstand. It went a hell of a long way, and it was just a check swing off his shoulder. So that one, he's absolutely launched it. Perfect position, good batting there, Trent D'Antonio. Single to 7. And that gets something going here for the Vikings. The lead-off, he'll be followed to the plate by Lachlan Giulieri. Giulieri steps in again, back-to-back left-handed hitters as we saw earlier. And that gives Jeremy Gendolek a little bit of work to do for the right-handed pitcher.
He has 2 outs here in this bottom of the fourth inning, and is looking to put the Vikings back into the field as quickly as he can.
And as we talked about stats earlier, if you get your lead-off batter on base, the percentage chance of him scoring a run in that inning is very, very high. But if there are already 2 out and you get a runner on base, your percentage chances of that runner crossing the plate are very much reduced.
Canterbury have done all their damage with 2 outs.
Yeah, that's true. They only need another good, strong innings and they could be right up there. It's only a 3-run game now, but they could certainly come back to within 1 or 2 runs very, very easily.
And they're back at the top of the lineup.
Swung on hard. Bobby Tweed has to charge it, but he can't get it. It gets under the glove. And D'Antonio will head to second base. Coco Johnson doing a good job charging in.
And that's all it takes. A little bit of a bobbled ball. Bobby Tweed overrunning that one. Didn't get it into the glove. It just came out behind him.
Well, he did what shortstop should do. He charged it to try and get it before it bounced a second time, because that second bounce is the one that carries all the spin. Now, if he could have got in and got it before it bounced on that second bounce, it would have been a pretty comfortable play for him over at first. He still would have had to throw on the run, but Bobby Tweed's good enough to do that. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't get to it before it bounced that second time, and the spin took it straight past his glove.
So let's see what happens here. We've got 2 good base runners, D'Antonio and Giulieri. Brett Rosen at the plate. The big, tall first baseman for the Vikings. Let's see if he can keep this inning alive.
Heads up, kids.
Boop.
Dad was watching that time, reached out, grabbed it as it came down off the net. Tossed it back to the Vikings.
Brought it up here, we've signed
Yeah, you can always bring it up here and get us to sign it. Yes.
What about a signature?
Yeah.
Sure.
it. We can devalue anything.
$30 ball instantly becomes worth 10. This one, a little inside out golf shot by Rosen.
D'Antonio turns the corner, heads for
he'll,
home.
He'll score comfortably. Throw to second base, not in time, trying to get Giulieri running around the corner, and Rosen will drive in a run of what was almost a golf shot to right field. The bat was vertical when he hit that rather than horizontal, and he drives in D'Antonio from second base. All of a sudden, it's 5-3 now. Macarthur leading Canterbury.
Yeah, 2-run gap. That's what I just mentioned in a little chat with Matt earlier, is that anything can happen here. And Matt said, with 2 out, the Vikings knuckle down, seem to concentrate that little bit more.
They have quality at bats.
They've gone back-to-back hits now. D'Antonio followed by Giulieri, followed by Rosen to 7 to 8 and to 9 consecutively and respectfully, and that will send Jason Moyer out to the mound to have a chat to Jeremy Gendlick. We did see Mitch Little up there warming up.
The issue they have now is that obviously they've got a guy like Edo's coming up, and Edo's can blow this game wide open with one swing.
One swing of the bat and Canterbury are in front. And who'd have thought that after 5-0 at the top of the second? So I just need to be careful. Maybe even pitch around him. I don't think there'll be any real damage if you... I mean, you never want to really load the bases up, but you really don't want to give anything for Edmonds to drive into the diamond number 2 either.
So opportunity here for Guy Edmonds with 2 runners on. 2 out though. But Vikings have still got the bats in their hand. Missing low and away that time, Jeremy Gendlick. Dane Wigg throws the signals down. Acknowledged. And pass ball.
Now I would almost walk Edmund. Just give him the base.
Yep.
You've got an open base at first base now.
Read up.
And let him have it. Let him have the open base and pitch it designated hitter Rob Reeves, who's 0 for 2 tonight.
2 runners in scoring position. You've got to be careful.
Looks like they're going at him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be throwing anything anywhere near the plate now. I'd be throwing about 6 inches on the outside, and if Edmonds wants to chase it, that's up to him. Maybe a high fastball. I say high. Went after him and he hit it high into the outfield.
Big challenge.
Johnson right around into right field to take the catch. So great job by Gendlick to actually go after Edmonds and get him.
That's it.
A big play by Macarthur. They needed that. Some slaps on the back for Jeremy Gendlick as he heads to the dugout. We're done through 4 completed innings. Canterbury continue the grind. They are back to 5-3, trailing the Orioles, as we will come back with the 5th innings after these short songs. Or song.
For the Vikings.
Now, if you've just joined us, the defensive lineup for Canterbury: Giulieri in left, Jackson White centre, Tyson Mangione in right, Michael Lennox at third, Daniel Bannon is the shortstop, Trent D'Antonio plays second base, Brett Rosen is at first base, Guy Edmonds behind the plate, Brad Simon on the mound. No change from the get-go for the Vikings.
And of course, this is our 4th game of broadcast today. We started this morning at 9 o'clock broadcasting the under-18s grand final between Cronulla and Manly. Manly victorious over Cronulla by 3-1. And that was followed by the 3rd grade grand final or championship game. And that was between Macarthur and Baulkham Hills. Baulkham Hills victorious 4-1 over the Macarthur side. And in the 2nd grade grand final championship game earlier this evening, it was Cronulla and the Ride Hawks. Cronulla winning that contest 3-1. All very tight games and great games of grand final championship baseball.
Matt Helms just swings through one there from Brad Simons, and that will ring him up on strikes. He will head back to the dugout, and his first strikeout of the night will bring Shannon Hislop to the plate for the Orioles, who really haven't got much going in offence since that 2nd innings where they put up the 4 spot.
Next pitch, Shannon Hislop in there. That was called strike. Next pitch from Brad Simon, way outside off the plate. It's 1 ball, 1 strike here on Hislop. Second batter in order, top of the 5th inning. Fouls that one off at the plate. Shane Benson, the batter, on deck. 2 of the danger men. Hislop and Benson back to back.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to let them get any sort of momentum going for Macarthur. There's that high and outside for 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Hislop.
Simon throws a nice fastball on the outside edge and gets Hislop swinging. He goes down on strikes as well. K2s back to back. Helms and Hislop down in order. 2 up, 2 down there for the Macarthur Orioles, and that brings to the plate their third baseman, Shane Benson.
Yeah, nice pitch from Brad Simon to get rid of Hislop. Not one of Shannon's better swings. Was just trying to get a little bit of bat on it to stay alive. Couldn't do so. Simon finds a strike at Benson's knees, which are a little bit taller than some blokes' knees, but still good enough for Ben Nash to call strike. That's a nice looking pitch. Yeah, right on the outside corner. Brad Simon took a little bit off that. Looked like it was either his slider or his curveball from this angle. And gets strike number 2 called on Benson. 0-2 now with 2 out on Shane Benson.
Ducks under that one.
That one thrown behind Shane Benson, and Guy Edmonds just giving him a pat on the back saying, oh, sorry mate, we didn't throw it at you.
Well, he could have got on first base if he stayed where he was.
Well, I don't know. I think it might have missed him. It was high and hid behind him, so it may have still missed him if he'd have stood dead still, but he is a big man. It might have caught him on the helmet. Benson goes after that one, hits it high into foul territory from behind first base. We've seen Rosen do this before. This time he doesn't have to worry about the fence. Snags it about a step inside. And that will be all she wrote for Macarthur. They cannot get anything happening in offense at the moment. Canterbury have all the answers. They are the team that has the momentum at the moment, the Vikings, and they will come back in the bottom of the 5th to see whether they can add a little bit more momentum, maybe grab another run to get themselves ever so much closer to the Orioles. The Orioles lead at 5-3 after 4.5 completed innings here at Blacktown International Sports Park. And welcome back to Blacktown International Sports Park. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Rob Reeves, the designated hitter, to lead things off. Michael Lennox and Jackson White, the due-ups for the Vikings. And it still looks like Jeremy Gendlick out there on the mound for the Vikings. Yes, it is. Curveball hit hard towards the 5-6 hole. Finds a gap through there into left field. Matt Helms will do the cleaning up. Rob Reeves aboard with his first base hit of the night. Surprising that Gendlick went back out there, Matt.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Obviously, he was getting touched up in the last inning. I thought his night might have been done, but obviously Jace is...
imagine you'll have him on a very tight leash in this innings.
Yeah, I think another hit here and Jeremy's night might be done.
Although Mitch Little, who was up throwing earlier, hasn't been up and throwing much, hasn't even been, just loosening up in the dugout much recently. There he goes now, having said that. He just gets up again and is going to head up to the bullpen again and do a secondary warm-up. So you might be right on the money there. He might be down to his last batter or two should he give up hits here.
Mitch doesn't take long to get ready, so,
And he's already had a full-on warm-up, so he'll just go out there and throw a few balls around and he'll be ready. Michael Lennox, the batter now for the Vikings. Base hit his last time up, struck out his first time up, swings through that one to take the count to 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at first base in the form of Rob Reeves. And the Vikings, a trail by 2. The tying run at the plate for them here in this bottom of the 5th inning. Gendlick would dearly love a double play ball. Tweet and Lynch playing in double play position. They are looking for that double play ball. We'll see what Gendelek can draw from Lennox. Nothing with that pitch, low and outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. So Gendelek fires in a fastball. This one's on that outside edge again. Gets that call. The count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. If he can put another one in that exact same area or get Lennox again, Lennox will not swing at that pitch on that outside corner. He was down looking at it in his first at-bat of the night. Again watches it pass. The 2-2 pitch is straight down the middle. Line drive straight at Bobby Tweed. He won't worry about firing it across at Reeves. He'll hang on to it. Lennox down on a sharp line drive to Bobby Tweet, the short stop. And the birthday boy here tonight at Blacktown.
Of course, just a bit of a reminder to all of our viewers out there that this is Game 2 of the preliminary final series. And Macarthur won Game 1 on Wednesday night. If they're able to get away with this one, there'll be no Game 3 tomorrow. However, if the Vikings turn this around and improve their fortunes, then it will be a Game 3 tomorrow afternoon, I believe, from about 2 o'clock will be the first pitch here at Blacktown International Sports Park on Sunday. And this is all the battle that takes place to see which of these two teams will go through to the Grand Final Championship Series that starts with Game 1 on Wednesday night, Game 2 next Saturday night, and that will be against the Central Coast Marlins, who are eagerly awaiting an opponent.
I know a couple of them are watching the broadcast, Harrow, so good evening to the Marlins that are gathered around, just tuned in to see what's going on. Chris Ings especially.
Probably on a big smart TV.
Sent through a tweet to say that g'day and that he's paying attention to the scores that are coming through.
Shorty was here earlier, hanging around there somewhere.
Was that another short comment?
Yes, it
There's
was.
been a lot of those tonight.
Jackson White behind 0-2. Shapes to bunt. And this one is going to wheel foul. Shane Benson's going to let it go. It is going to go just the wrong side of the bag. If you're a Canterbury Vikings supporter,
Heads up,
let
baseball.
it run. If it goes another half a foot forward, it hits third base and it's a fair ball. But unfortunately for the Vikings, it just tails foul. In fact, the count couldn't have been 0-2 or he'd be out on strikes. It must have been 1-1.
Heads up, baseball.
But Benson let it run.
That's 101 pitches.
Hud and run for Gendelek. 101 pitches. 101 pitches for Jeremy Gendelek right now at this point in time.
So I'd say this will be it for Gendelek. He gets the strikeout on Jackson White. Yeah, I'd say this will be the last innings for Gendelek if he's up over the hundreds now. They'll try and get him through this, then maybe get 2 out of Little and, as you're saying, 2 out of Cobb perhaps.
Yeah, he can go to Tyson Mangione and see if he can get through that.
Yeah, but this is where Canterbury's done all the damage, with 2 out.
Mangione, both balls he's hit have been to the right field side for a base hit and a fly out. A nice pitch from Gendelek on that outside corner again and again. Ben Nash rewards the pitcher with a called strike.
Is there still a pitch limit of 120, 125?
Yep,
125?
125.
And finish the batter.
Correct. Gendelek high and inside on Mangione. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at first base is Rob Reeves. There are 2 out. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Macarthur leading at 5-3 over the Canterbury Vikings. This one hit hard towards third base. Backhanding it is Benson. Comes up hard. Throw makes it look easy. Throws the frozen rope across the diamond. Finds Shannon Hislop, and that will shut down the Vikings here in the bottom of the 5th. So 5 completed innings are in the books here at Blacktown International Sports Park, where the Macarthur Orioles, they're hanging on to their lead. It is 5-3, the Orioles over the Vikings.
Ice and snow from the midnight sun where the hot the Gulf. We'll drive our ships to new land, fight the horn, sing and cry. Valhalla, I am coming. Always sweeping, fishing on. I only go with the Western Shore. The ice and snow from the midnight sun for the husband's glow. So green, whispered tales of gold, of how we calm tides of war. We are your overlord. Always see.
And welcome back to Blacktown International Sports Park, where we are into the top of the 6th inning. Bobby Tweed to lead things off for the Macarthur Orioles. He is 0 for 2 tonight, reached on an error and flied out to left field in his 2 at-bats.
Look, and I think for the birthday boy here, I don't really think he cares too much as long as he gets the win.
That's it.
He'd be happy with that. Get into another championship game.
That one low. I was going to say 3 straight balls from what I saw, but apparently one of them's been called a strike. So 2 balls and 1 strike on Bobby Tweed. Two 1 pitch. He shapes up to bunt.
Ooh.
Misses it. And it will be a called strike.
And Mitch Simon's pitch count getting up in the mid-90s now.
Started this innings at 94, we believe, from our research department. And so with 4 added to that, make it 98. So by the time he finishes, Bobby Tweed, he'll probably be on the ton, or near enough to it. 2-2 pitch, swung on, lifted into left field. Giulieri going back, and grabs it. He was in all sorts of trouble. Giulieri got himself a little bit tied up, but got the mid up into a good position in the end, and found the ball safely into his mid out there in left field. Thought it was getting over his head there for a second. Looked a little bit awkward, but it's in the mitt.
I think the only doubters are up here in the grandstand.
Oh, I don't know about that. I imagine
Lachlan Giulieri out there, I think he sort of had it under control all the time. He was going full stretch, and he's a tall guy, but I think he thought he had it covered. He stepped slowed down. He just settled himself. I didn't think he had it.
He looked a little bit panicky there for a couple of steps. He was having trouble finding it, got the mitt up at the last minute, and the ball found the mitt, which is all you need to do.
Kai Hislop at the plate, designated hitter for the Orioles. And I think they're looking to get something going as well. This buffer is getting narrower and narrower as the Vikings creep up.
They've had 1 base runner in the last 4 innings.
Yeah.
Kai Hislop, a pretty, you'd have to say, pretty ordinary swing.
But, look, Kai's a big game player.
That's why he forces his way into these lineups in these big games.
Ooh.
Pitch way outside from Simon.
Brad Simon's done a good job coming back from that second innings where 4 runs were scored. And they're just maintaining his composure and continuing to work hard. And he's shut them down for the last 3.5 innings.
Well, since that second innings closed, he has he's retired, what have we got, 9, 10 of the 11 he's faced. He's only allowed 1 base runner, and that was on a base on ball.
Yep.
Hasn't allowed a hit since that second innings. That misses low and outside. He will give up another walk here, and his pitch count slowly getting up into the dangerous stage. As he said, he was 99 starting that one. He gives up a 5-pitch walk to take him to 104 pitches, so starting to get up there, and he's just adjusting uniforms. I thought he might have hurt his back. I thought he was going to stretch his back out, but no, he's just tucking himself in, making himself look like a baseballer, which is good.
And obviously, you got Jesse Lynch coming up here, and look, Jesse does hold a record at Macarthur, which I will share with everyone, which is the most broken bats in the season. I think he averages a broken bat every two at bats.
This one gets away from Edmonds. And that will allow Hislop up into scoring position. So Hislop advances now to second base. And Macarthur with their first threat in 4 innings here in the top of the 6th.
So Lynch steps in. What does he just hold them incorrectly, Matt? The grain the wrong way? What's he do?
He just has terrible at bats. I'll be honest with you.
Swings it inside pitches, Harrow.
Yeah, I guess that'll do it.
With wooden bats, that's a recipe for disaster. Lines this one up the middle. It's going to get into centre field, but it's shallow centre. There's no chance Hislop scoring. He will be held at third, and Macarthur will have runners at the corners with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Good piece of hitting by Jesse Lynch. Just squared up on it, lined it into centre field, base hit. Runners at the corners, 1 away.
Didn't try to overhit that one. Just put it into play.
Put the ball in play, and that's what works.
That will bring a coaching visit to the mound for the Vikings. They're going to have a chat about whether or not they want to continue with Simon or bring in who we believe to be Bastow from the bullpen.
Yep. Jaden Bastow.
That's it. Done.
That's it. They've taken the ball off Brad Simon. Thank you for his effort.
I think they've gone to Michael Lennox.
Could well have.
Just having a look in the dugout. Yeah, it doesn't look like...
Lennox is at third. Looks like he's gone to the mound.
Yeah, Bastow's heading out of the bullpen now, but he's going to end up
Taking his time.
Yeah, he's got his jacket and put his jacket back on, so they will be going to Lennox, I would imagine. Bastow is putting his jacket back on in the dugout, so interesting to see how they ring the changes here.
Yep, somebody's got to go to third if Lennox is going to pitch.
D'Antonio will go to third, I believe.
Yep, and 38 is going to head out to second base, and that will be maybe the DH. Yep, Rob Reeves. So Rob Reeves, the designated hitter, will head to second base.
Bit of a ploy having Bastow in the pen, do you think?
Yep, bit of gamesmanship.
Chess.
Trent D'Antonio to third base.
Look, and Lennox threw on Wednesday night and was pretty effective.
Yeah, he can go all right on the hill. What concerns me in this situation, though, is his warm-up.
Yes.
Not enough warm-up.
Having coached Lennox back in the days when we were at Penrith together, doesn't take Lennox long to get warm. So
He's appeared in 14 efforts on the mound for Canterbury this season, 11 of them in relief, an ERA of 3.69 on his 31.2 innings pitched. So not a bad effort for a guy coming in relief in 11 appearances for the Canterbury Vikings.
And we've got Rob Reeves at second base, is that correct?
That is correct. Rob Reeves to second base, Trent D'Antonio to third base. So Lennox is done with his mandatory 8-pitch warm-up.
Lennox has a very funky action.
Takahiodo into the batter's box for Macarthur. Takes the first pitch, and it's fair. It gets past Rose, and it will go all the way to the corner in right field. Hislop scores. Around comes Lynch. He will score. Hiodo into third with a stand-up triple, if you don't mind. 2 more to the Orioles. 7-3. The Orioles over the Vikings.
And there's the breakout.
And does that come down to a lack of warm-up and preparation on the fact of Lennox? Hiodo sees one pitch, lines it down the first base line, inside the diving Rosen, into the corner in right field, clears the bases, scores 2 for Macarthur. We said how dangerous Hiodo was in that number 9 spot. He drove in a run in the second innings and goes ahead and puts 2 more in as he triples here in the 6th.
Wow, what a way to go. Only 1 out here, top of the 6th inning. 2 runs scored. Runner at third. And at the plate, we're back to the top of the order with catcher Dane Wigg.
Certainly clips Dane Wigg does that pitch. And so the second time tonight we'll see a Wigg walk courtesy of a hit by pitch.
Coco Johnson comes to the plate now with runners on the corners for the Orioles. Danger time for the Vikings. Can they get out of this?
They have to. They need to get out.
Oh, nice pitch there from Lennox. Just drifted that one in across the top of the strike zone.
Yeah, the curveball was giving Coco no speed early on. The speed pitches are the ones that have been hit hard by Macarthur at the moment. Goes another curveball, looks for the outside corner and just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Johnson. Johnson 1 for 3. A hit to centre field, a line drive out, and a strikeout looking. Again, no speed, a little comebacker off the end. Lennox could have probably looked for the double play. He didn't even look around to second base, and Daniel Bannon, the second baseman, just having a word to him saying, you've got to have a look around. We could have possibly turned a double and been out of here, Michael.
I think he just wanted an out.
But he gets the out of Coco Johnson at first base. But that will bring the very dangerous Helms to the plate, and now runners at second and third with 2 out. Wig having to move on that force play. Matt Helms himself is 0 for 3, but he has reached on an error. He's struck out and ground out. And for a guy that bats as well as Helms does, he is due. If you're a Macarthur Orioles fan, you would say that he was overdue.
Matty's one of those guys. He just clutches up. He was struggling in the first game, but had that walk-off hit.
There's a pop-up. Edmonds has no idea where it went. D'Antonio from third base will not go into the Orioles dugout to try and get that one. It's out of play.
He would have had to jump the fence to get into there or push people out of the way through the gate.
And nobody was going to make room for him through the cutout.
Well, Benno was there.
That was blocked. That was well and truly blocked. As I was about to say, Shane Benson had the gap covered. There was no way he was getting through there. Helms a 462 hitter on the season, so with that sort of average and 0 for 3 so far tonight, as you say, he is definitely due. 0-1 pitch, and that was fouled out over third base, out of play. The count to 0-2 now. Macarthur got plenty of action happening up in their pen.
Nick Dollar and Mitch Little.
Yeah, certainly still Mitch Little on that side. I was trying to identify who the other one was, Mitch Little and Nick Dollar. So thank you for that.
You can tell by the long hair.
I'm lucky if I could see his hair from here without the binoculars.
The mullet's coming back.
1-2 pitch, swung on, hit hard towards second base, bad kick, off the glove, it'll score 2. In comes Hiodo, in comes Wig, and we said that he was due, and it was a rip of a hit. It kicked up off the sand, and Rob Reeves, who is just out there to second base, couldn't get around behind it. It hit him up either high off either the heel of the hand or the glove and ricocheted out into right field, and that will score 2 more for the Orioles. And talk about blow it open, they've put another 4 spot up here in the 6th.
Too hot to handle, that one for the second baseman. I wouldn't put that down as an error. It was just too hot to handle, I think.
Oh, it
really was a hard hit ball.
First grade baseball.
Paul McCulloch might see that differently as he frowns at me.
Yeah, but he errors everything. You know that, Harrow. He thinks they're all major.
If it touches your glove,
Yeah,
you're
they're
entitled to
all
get the
major
out in first grade baseball at State League.
Correct. They're all major leaguers out there. If you get within a yard of it, it's an error.
Correct.
But this one fouled off down the first base side by Shannon Hislop. This game blown wide open again from the Orioles. Make it 9-3 now.
And I think, just touching on one of the points that we were speaking about before, Harrow, was was it going to be a pitching change that blew this game open? And 100%, that's
There
what
it is.
happens.
Here's another line drive. This should score. Helms with 2 out. He rounds third. He comes to the plate and he will score. Make it 5 for the Orioles here in the 6th.
It's the bust out. Bad time for the Vikings for a bust out to occur as well.
Don't warm up your pitches. That's what's going to happen.
Lennox in real trouble here. The 9th batter of the innings coming to the plate, Shane Benson. There are 2 out and a runner on first base, but 5 runs crossing the plate. And from all the momentum being with the Vikings working their way back into the game, all of a sudden all of the air has been sucked out of the Canterbury side of this diamond.
Tough day at the office. Shane Benson in there now. 9th batter in this top of the 6th innings for the Orioles coming to the plate.
Certainly not getting any easier for Lennox with Shane Benson. We saw how hard and how far he hit one of Brad Simon's balls earlier. If Lennox throws one in that same area, he might hit it 15 feet further. He allows that one to pass on the outside edge for a called strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on Shane Benson. Lennox looks around, comes to Benson. Benson goes the other way, but he just tails it on the breeze. That one will end up in the bullpen of the Vikings.
Just an interesting fact for you all is that there's only been one home run in this postseason for first grade.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
This is, unfortunately, this is not a home run hitting ballpark, Matt. This is often referred to as the place where home runs go to die, unless you're using Brett balls.
Well, the actual
Deep in the centre.
the actual home run that was hit was actually on Diamond 3,
There you go.
centre field, which
So
was
still a
Coco
good-
Johnson.
Still a good hit as we see Shane Benson takes one and swings through it on the outside edge. He will go down on strikes for the third out. So he is struck out. 9 batters to the plate. They score 5 massive big runs and they make it 10 runs to 3 as they get through the 6 innings and head to the bottom of the 6th. Australia here of preliminary final game number 2. A must-win game if the Vikings want to stay alive in season 17-18. And for those of you hoping or thinking that maybe if Macarthur can score a few runs, it might be an early night. There is no run differential in semi-finals on post-season baseball, so it will be played out to 9 innings.
And Jeremy Gendelick remains on the mound for the Orioles, working his 6th inning.
So he will go to his full count, obviously, now that they've scored 5 runs in that 6th inning. As this one is hit hard but straight at Jesse Lynch, the second baseman. Does a nice job to stay down and get that ball comfortably in his mitt. And Daniel Bannon will be retired on the 4-3. Nice play by Jesse Lynch staying down to get the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. This is a big innings for both teams. If Macarthur shut Canterbury down 1-2-3, that will just about take all the enthusiasm out of that Canterbury side. If Canterbury get a couple of runs back, they'll get that feeling back that, okay, we just got to grind again, boys, and we can get back into this. So very big innings for both teams here to see how it sorts out. So far, Macarthur on top with 1 batter up, 1 batter down. And they go back to the top of the lineup. Trent D'Antonio in the batter's box. As Gendelick misses well outside on the first pitch he throws to D'Antonio. D'Antonio 2 from 2 tonight. 2 hits, 2 singles to left, and a base on balls in his 3 plate appearances. And gets ahead very quickly 2-0 on Gendelick, who we know was throwing at around about 110 pitches when he finished the last innings, give or take a couple. So really probably only has about 3 or 4 batters left in him before he will have to be withdrawn on the 125 pitch limit here in the New South Wales Baseball State League. Misses low to D'Antonio. Three balls and a strike, and that is on the outside edge. That will fill it up. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away for the Vikings.
And if Gendelick can keep the Vikings bats quiet through this 6th innings, he's done a great job this evening.
Swung on and fouled off by Trent D'Antonio, and that might just about be the pitch limit now, I think, for Gendelick.
And then it's going to be up to the relievers to see what can be done there.
Well, we've seen what the pitching change for the Orioles against the Canterbury relief has transposed. That was 5 massive runs in the top of the 6th. See what happens when the Orioles go to their bullpen. Although they will be going to a bullpen where the blokes have been up throwing for a good 5 or 10 minutes. We're really warmed up and ready to go as Trent D'Antonio draws the base on balls. And that will be it for Grendelek. We knew he was getting very close to the end of his pitch count.
Will they go to their third baseman, Shane Benson?
No, they won't. They will go to the bullpen, and they will look like they are going to go to Mitch Little.
All of them.
As we're just awaiting
There's
their...
a bit of a chat, just giving them a bit more time to stretch up down there, although there's not a lot happening in the bullpen.
They both came to the fence. They both came to the fence just to worry about who he was going to call out. And
Tall one or the shorter one?
correct. The one with lots of hair or the one with not quite as much hair.
That's right.
Grendelek comes out now, and that is Mitch Little.
Padre.
Is that his nickname?
That is his nickname, the Padre.
That's his bottom of the 6th inning with 1 out.
Love the SMSs coming through. Keep them coming through. 0423 55 1195. Another one fired through with a question for Matt, asking roughly how many positions has Dane Wigg played this year?
I'm not sure if this is a stitch up. I don't know why all the questions are coming to me for, but anyway.
You reckon he's a bit of a shit up?
Well, okay, we can go with catching, shortstop, second base. We've had him at centre field. We've had him at third base, left field, and pitching.
So 7 out of the 9 covered. So we've just got to get him over at first base there and at right field for a run before the end of the season, and we can cover all 9 off on the year. So Mitch Little going through his warm-up pitches.
Had a good game behind the plate earlier.
Yeah, had a very, very good game in the second grade grand final.
Third grade.
Third grade grand final. So second grade was Cronulla and Wright. He was going to be doing it well. He'd be playing in one of those teams. The third
Just a
grade
quick shower and
final.
change of uniform.
Yeah, exactly
Everything's
right.
sweet. Yeah.
That would have been a big day if he'd have played in the second grade grand final after playing in the third grade grand final.
I don't know if that's in the rules.
The switching clubs.
It is in the rules. You can't do it.
In the grand final series.
You can do anything.
You can't register with 2 clubs.
Well, there you go. So he has done through his warm-up pitches, has a quick chat to Dane Wigg, and he will resume. Trent D'Antonio stands at first base. There is 1 away. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Canterbury trail the Orioles by 10 runs to 3.
Lachlan Giulieri steps to the plate. Left field, and number 8 on his shirt there, you can see on the video coverage.
First pitch from Little, misses low and outside.
Giulieri's done an excellent job in left field for the night, I must say.
All the outfielders have been
I
outstanding.
was going to say that there hasn't been a problem in the outfield in this game. They've all done exceptionally well. Called strike on Giulieri. I believe 1 ball and 1 strike on him now. Breaking pitch,
Ooh.
big swing. And Dane Wigg does a good job to keep it down in front of him, keeps D'Antonio at first base.
I think when you've got some guy like Jeremy that throws so hard, and you bring in a guy like Mitch,
Lot of change-ups, a lot of
a
curves.
lot of change, just a lot of junk. And look, he's a good junk ball pitcher.
Well, we've seen a man by the name of Craig Anderson make a living out of throwing junk balls. Gets up there, throws 70 mile an hour and just moves it all over the place, wobbles it, drops it. Blokes just can't hit him. This is grounded straight at second base. Double play opportunity. They get the first part as Lynch just dishes it off to Bobby Tweed covering the bag. And Tweed not able to get a real good throwaway as D'Antonio slid in hard. He just has a question of second base umpire Jordan Taylor as to whether D'Antonio actually did slide at the base or whether he slid at Tweed. And Jordan Taylor's going to be satisfied that D'Antonio went at the base, or at least within the vicinity of the base. And he's going to allow D'Antonio to be called out on the force, and he's going to allow Giulieri to stay at first, courtesy of the fielder's choice. Of course, the rule changed a couple of seasons ago now to ensure that a player sliding into second base doesn't slide at the shortstop or the second baseman who is looking after the bag, but must slide to the bag and must be able to either get a hand on the bag or their foot to the bag to make sure they're sliding at the bag rather than at the player. And second base umpire Jordan Taylor obviously satisfied that D'Antonio was doing that.
And obviously, Jason Moy didn't come out, so Jason saw nothing wrong with it either.
Correct. He's probably just looked at Bobby Tweed and Bobby Tweed shrugged the shoulders and said, "Hey, we're 10-3 in front. What's it really matter?
Yeah.
We got the force. We got the lead runner."
Yeah.
And Bobby's a Yank, so he'll appeal for anything.
Of course.
And it's his birthday.
Well, maybe,
Birthdays, you're allowed to do that.
I was going to say maybe he was hoping for a present from second base umpire Jordan Taylor to fire out both runners and get them out of the field and back into the dugout, but not to be at that stage.
Probably after a Krispy Kreme donut.
Oh,
That is Bobby you're talking about. Long, deep ball to left field. Well hit by Rosen, but not well enough. On the warning track is Matt Helms, and he will take the catch. Well hit ball by Brett Rosen, but not well enough. The third.
for the seventh innings, leading off is Dane Wigg for the Orioles.
And to answer those questions, no, Matt wasn't the third Hislop brother in the Macarthur Orioles lineup. This one popped up into centre field. Should be an easy play for White. In fact, Mangione going to call him off it. Mangione will take the catch in right field to retire Bobby Tweet.
He was a long way from right field, wasn't he, when he took that catch?
Yeah, a long way across. I thought Jackson White might have drifted over and taken it, but either way, they take the catch, and that's all that matters.
Good communications between the pair of them. One up, one down. Top of the seventh innings for the Orioles. Coco Johnson steps in now.
I think that's Kai Hislop.
Yeah, is in fact Kai Hislop.
I see.
What have you done? You've
I've gone somewhere wrong. I have gone somewhere wrong. It was Bobby Tweet,
you haven't
the first
yeah,
out.
you haven't started it across there. You went back to the top of the lineup.
Thank you, gents. I'll take my headphones off for a moment. I'll go to the sin bin.
Kai Hislop drills this one into centre field for a base hit. So Hislop aboard.
Can we just recap the first out there, Bobby Tweet?
Yeah, Bobby Tweed, he lifted it into right field. And as we said, there was a bit of a chat between White and Mangione as to who wanted it. They boiled the kettle, sat down, had a cup of tea, and then they decided that Mangione would take the catch as it came down. So Bobby Tweed out on the fly to 9. Kai Hislop with the base hit. And that will bring Jesse Lynch to the plate. Michael Lennox still on the mound for the Vikings.
It's been a long day.
Agreed.
Jesse Lynch 1 for 3 with a base hit to centre field.
Without a broken bat.
A fly out and a bunt third strike. You said that and he just fouls one off that was been a bit closer to the handle. Might have been a snapper.
He's due.
Well, he hasn't had one tonight so far.
I'm willing to jinx him.
We just did.
Good. Add it to his tally.
That was the one. If he was going to snap a bat, that was the inside fastball from Lennox.
A little bit too high to swing at that one.
Correct. That's the one, though. You go around to get you up on the handle, up near the hands, and snap goes the bat.
Still a bit intrigued with the Vikings warming up Jaden Bastow so many times in the bullpen and not going to the warm pitcher out of the pen, going to the cold third baseman. However, that was a little ploy maybe, we don't know.
Maybe it was a little mistake.
Bastow hasn't been up there since, just still got the jacket on.
No, put his jacket on and came back to the dugout. This one hit hard to right centre field. It's going into the alley. It is in the alley. It will get past Mangione. White will have to clean it up. They are rounding Kai Hislop. He runs well. The throw is not good to the plate, and Hislop scores.
Wow. Absolutely launched.
Jesse Lynch with a hard drive into the centre right alley. Thought for a minute that Mangione might have had a play at it, but he no play whatsoever. And Mangione in the end couldn't get to it. Good job Jackson White went across to offer him a little bit of assistance in cover. He ended up fielding it and getting it back. And on the back of that, Kai Hislop, who we said runs well for a big man, he strode around third, took it in his stride, crossed the plate comfortably for the 11th run of the game for the Orioles.
The pain certainly won't stop there because Taka Hiodo is at the plate. Last at bat was a triple to right field side.
He's 2 for 2 tonight. He's got a single and a triple. He's only a double and a homer away from a cycle. And I don't know if Taka's got the power to put it out of out of this ballpark.
Yes, he does.
He has got the power, you reckon, to get it out of here?
I've seen plenty of home runs hit by Tucker.
I'm not saying he can't hit home runs. This is just a big ballpark to hit home runs out of.
One run scored, one out, one on base.
Taka just hits this one foul over the third base sign. Falls behind 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the SMS has just come through. It is a bit of a stitch up because I've actually never played at Holroyd.
A strikeout for Taka Hiodo as he swings through that next pitch from Lennox.
In right field, and it was never a stellar career.
Somebody accusing you of being a really good baseballer, are they?
Apparently so. Hence the reason I'm up here and not down there.
A stellar career at Holroyd. You've got friends out there.
Oh,
You've just got to find them.
I'm just trying to work out who it is. I wish they put a name to it.
Put your name on the next end of the next one so that
Rip
Matt
to
knows who
high
it is.
left field side, charging in. Lachlan Giulieri, as we've seen all night, and he gets a great catch in the left field side.
That's it. 3 up. Sorry, I was going to say 3 down now with it not before a run was scored. Kai Hislop getting driven in by Jesse Lynch. Sports Park. You're with the Summer of Baseball crew. Big Cam Hickson, Paul Harrow, Harradine, P-Mac, Paul McCulloch, and behind us, joining us for the first time here on Grand Final Day, Matt Givon. Great to have you all aboard, wherever you may be listening from, as we start the bottom of the 7th inning, and the first pitch from Mitch Little is in the direction of Guy Edmonds, who just sort of glares at him as it hits him in the left bicep. Drops down onto the turf in front, and he takes the most casual stroll you've ever seen up first base on the hit by pitch. And he will stand at first base. So a lead off aboard for Canterbury here in the bottom of the 7th. They trail by 8 and really need to get things happening.
He looks happy about it.
Does he ever look happy? The only time I think I've seen Guy happy is when he carted one out of here for a 3-run bomb about 2 or 3 seasons ago.
I think Mitch might have said a few words as well.
Never.
Yeah.
This one hit hard but high. Should be in the ballpark of Matt Helms. He has a read on it now. Steadies himself underneath it. Takes a comfortable catch there in left field. 1 gone for the Vikings here, bottom of 7. Runner aboard at first, trailing by 8.
And coming to the plate should be Michael Lennox.
He's just taking his time. He's looking for a helmet. He's got a helmet. Is it 43?
Well,
It is 43. So
just come off the mound, I guess. 2 batters have gone up. Guy Edmonds at first. Rob Reeves, the designated hitter, was the fly out, I think, to left field side. It was. And now Michael Lennox, who's been pitching the last 2 innings for the Vikings, steps in.
1 for 3 tonight, Michael Lennox. A base hit to centre field. And out on a called 3rd strike, and a line drive to shortstop Bobby Tweet. This one hit hard by Lennox. It's the chance. It is deep. It is going and gone. Forget about it. Lennox crushes.
Wow.
A 2-run bomb for the Vikings. A big hit from Michael Lennox. When that came off the bat, you knew it was deeper than anything we'd seen tonight so far. And as a result, it is gone.
He's going to get the runs himself. 2 more runs on the Canterbury Vikings scoreboard. That will help a little bit. It just narrows it up, but it's still 11 runs to 5.
Might get rid of any possible run differential that was on the cards.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome, Arrow.
My apologies. Did you hear that?
You're sorry.
No, I didn't say I was sorry. I said I apologised for even suspecting it.
Little straight back to a strike now on Jackson White, but wow, wouldn't that have been big without that 6-inning bust out of Macarthur?
Absolutely, just a little bit too
Well,
late.
this one off the mound, and Jesse Lynch does a good job of stopping and going back to it. It hit the side of the mound and went hard right. Jesse Lynch was heading hard towards second base to try and cut it off up the middle, and had to put the brakes on and wait for it to come back to him, which it did. He picks it up and makes the routine out at first base for the second out of the innings. Pinch hitter coming in now for Canterbury. Number 72 as we head to our sheets. 72 is Mitch Simon.
And now batting for the Vikings, number 72, Mitch Simon.
And that's also the first 2 runs that Mitch Little's given up this whole postseason in relief.
Wow.
So there we go. Came from one almighty swing of the bat from Michael Lennox. He certainly did not miss it. As Simon takes a strike from Little.
Let's see if he can keep some momentum going here. Ground ball, third base. And that's Shane Benson fields that regulation ground ball at third base across to his first baseman, Shannon Hislop. They get that 5-3 out on the ground ball down the line. So that's the end of the 7th innings for the Canterbury Vikings. They do get 2 runs out of it, though, and narrows that gap on the scoreboard. As we said, it is now 11 runs to 5. Orioles over the Vikings.
About to check outside the game. And you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know.
He is with the Orioles at the moment. They lead by 6 runs, 11-5 over the Vikings in their attempt to get through to the Grand Final Championship Series, which starts next Wednesday night. Of course, if the Vikings can get those runs back, keep this game going, give themselves a chance, we go to Game 3 tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. Leading off for the Orioles in this top of the 8th inning is Coco Johnson. Fifth plate appearance for Johnson as he leaves that one alone for a ball outside. Struck out in his first appearance, on base in his second, line drive for the third out in the fourth.
Hits this one really high, but not far enough. Should be an easy catch for White out there in centre field, and is.
No mistake, Jackson White out there, fly ball straight away centre field. He only had to come in about 20 metres or so, and Coco Johnson becomes the first victim in this top of the 8th innings for the Orioles. A 1 up, 1 down as we go to Matt Helms. Michael Lennox, as you can see, remains on the mound for the Vikings.
Oh, crushed through the left side of the diamond. They were playing a switch to the right on a Matt Helms, and he just stayed on the inside of it and drove it through what would have been would have been straight at shortstop in standard fielding positions, but with the switch through the massive gap between shortstop and third base for a base hit.
It's really funny with them actually playing the shift on Helms. When nobody knew anything about him, everyone was playing him straight up. But then once everyone started working him out, they started putting the shift on him, and he really started to struggle hitting. But now he's sort of worked out, with them playing the shift on him, that he's actually hitting now through the shift.
Yeah, it just stays on the inside of it like he did on that last one, and he just drives it into the hole that they leave for him. And Shannon Hislop sees one pitch, follows almost the exact same trajectory as the Matt Helms hit, and gets it past shortstop Bannon for a base hit. And so the Orioles now with runners at first and second with 1 away, and Shane Benson to the plate.
And they kept the shift on for Shannon Hislop as well, being a lefty. So same thing, went through the same gap. Let's see what Benno can do.
I'm sure after seeing Michael Lennox launch one into the darkness of diamond number 3, Shane Benson's got visions of doing something similar.
He wants a piece of darkness.
Goes the other way though, pops it up into right field. Mangione should have no problems with it. Does not. The runner tagging up at second base, Helms, and Benson out on that fly ball to right field.
So 2 out now with 2 runners on base for the Orioles as we go to Bobby Tweet. Shortstop for the Orioles steps in. He's been out on a fly ball to right field, fly ball to left field, fly ball to left field, and got on base with an E5.
I was going to say, he needs a base hit on his birthday, but he's not going to get one, unfortunately, unless he can beat it out. No! He's not going to beat it out, and that will be the third out. It was deep in the 5-6 hole, but well played by Bannon, ranging to his right and then making a good throw across the diamond to Rosen for the third out.
Top half of the 8th innings are done and dusted.
Canterbury in real trouble, trailing 11-5 to the Macarthur Orioles. And we've a couple of changes for the Orioles, mainly on the mound. Alex Cobb comes into the game to replace Mitch Little, and out at right field we've got a change out there as well. Taka Hiodo, he has a bit of a break, and out there goes Nick Dollar. So they're the changes for the Orioles as we head to this bottom of the 8th inning. Daniel Bannon to lead things off for the Vikings. Get to head 2-0. 2-0 pitch in the dirt, make it 3-0. Bannon 1 for 3 tonight. He's had a hit to third base and a ground out to both shortstop and second base. 3-0 pitch misses inside, and a little bit of maybe nerves or control issue just for Cobb to start things off there as he issues a 4-pitch walk to Bannon.
Bannon is a genuine base stealing threat also. A lot of wheels for Bannon. I think the only guy that's been throwing him out all season has been Helmsley. Obviously with Wig catching, he's going to back himself here.
Well, you're right. He's had 21 goes, so definitely somebody that Canterbury are happy to send. He's been successful on 16 of those occasions. So a pretty good record in swiping bases for Daniel Bannon. First pitcher called strike on D'Antonio. Big curveball misses upstairs from Cobb. 1 ball and 1 strike. This one misses again, I think high as well as possibly outside.
High and outside, yeah.
2 balls and 1 strike. You know D'Antonio won't swing at anything that isn't right there to be hit. And there is one right there to be hit. Ripped down the right field line. Foul. Not by much. There's not much differential between the foul line and the padding down there in the right field corner. But D'Antonio managed to bisect the two of them. Landed in foul territory. And unfortunately for Canterbury supporters, that one is foul. He'll have to come back, do it all again now with a 2-2 count. 2-2 count, just misses inside. Held there for a long time by Dane Wigg, trying to convince home plate umpire Ben Nash that it was better than Ben Nash thought it was.
Nash is having none of it.
Absolutely none of it. Having a very good game, the whole umpiring panel here tonight. Full count now to D'Antonio, allows it to pass downstairs. Back-to-back walks issued up by Alex Cobb. And he finds himself in a little bit of a jam, and Jason Moy are going to just go out and settle the young fella down. So it's 11-3. The Vikings are down. 11-5. The Vikings are down. But they do have their first 2 runners on base here. If they could find a way to score maybe these 2 runs without losing an out, get it back to 11-7, they'll certainly make the Orioles a little bit more nervous than what the Orioles would like to be.
In saying that, there is a little bit of movement in the Orioles pen.
Yeah, somebody else up throwing up there, a lefty up there. But that being said, just remember this is a best of 3 series. This is game number 2. Macarthur took game number 1 by 3 runs to 2 on Wednesday night. So a Macarthur win will put them straight through to the grand final series against the Marlins. Lachlan Giulieri into the batter's box now. First pitch catches the outside corner. That's much better from Cobb. Amazing what a little chat from the manager does. Amazing how many times that first pitch after a little bit of a chat happens to find the strike zone. Giulieri now slaps this one towards third base. Shortstop Benson across the diamond. He's not going to come up with it. He was on full stretch and all he could do was manage to knock it down. Be very interesting to see how they score it. They scored an error straight away, so no mucking around there. It was on full stretch on Shane Benson.
Yeah, it's an error.
And fair enough. So Benson up with the error. That will advance the runners. Bannon around to third. D'Antonio up to second. And that puts Giulieri at first. Canterbury with a real opportunity. The bases are full. Nobody out. This is possibly the last major chance the Vikings have had. If they can't get something out of this, high fly ball to centre field should be good for the sack. Johnson stands underneath it, has no intentions of trying to throw out the runner at home. The runners at second and third both tag and will both advance. So Bannon will score. Rosen will end up with a sacrifice fly.
Run across the plate for Vikings.
And D'Antonio advances to third base. So the run good. The sixth run on the board for the Vikings. 11-6 now. They trail the Orioles. Guy Edmonds to the batter's box. We know what happened last time Guy got up. He got hit by a pitch, and then Lennox hit a bomb 2 batters later to score him. See whether Edmonds can return the favour. He hits it high to left field. It's not deep enough. Tailing towards the bullpen. It will stay in play, and it will be caught. It will score a run. D'Antonio will tag and score. So another sack fly. It was deep into foul territory in left field. Hard up against the bullpen fence was Matt Helms. Wasn't sure if it was going to get into the bullpen or not. And Helms with a good catch out there to get Guy Edmonds, who can be a very dangerous hitter. The second out. D'Antonio tags and scores from third to add another run onto the tally for the Vikings to make it 11-7. But the Orioles get a very important second out.
What probably a lot of people don't know about Helmsley is that primarily overseas he's always been an outfielder, and his secondary position is a catcher, where predominantly he has been catching most of this season. So yeah, Helmsley is very comfortable in the outfield.
Did a really good job there of getting to the fence early and establishing a position on the fence before he then was able to just watch where the ball was coming down and take the catch, which is a good tip to anyone playing in a arena like this that has some unusual fence shapes and structures. Get to that fence as quickly as you can. Get yourself set, and then work out where the ball's going to come down and see if you can make a grab like Helms did on that occasion. Rob Reeves swings through that next pitch from Alex Cobb. Falls behind 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out runner at first. 4 runs the differential. The Orioles leading the Vikings. The Vikings in a must-win situation or their season is over. A 1-2 pitch on its way from Reeves. He fights it off. That one lands up here on the roof and continues off the back of the roof down to the concourse.
Negative.
So the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss from Rob Reeves. He will go down on strikes. A very nice pitch. That from Alex Cobb, the slider. He gets it past the bat of Rob Reeves. Records the 3rd out. And the Vikings are down to 3 outs now as we are finished through 8 here at Blacktown International Sports Park. 8 innings gone. And it is the Vikings trailing the Orioles 11-7.
And the disappointing thing for the Vikings is that so far through the game they have left 10 runners on base. 10 runners left stranded.
going from the mound out to right field. Coming into second base, we had Mitch Simon. And onto the mound, replacing Rob Reeves. And going onto the mound will be Jaden Bastow. Into the batter's box for the Orioles, Kai Hislop. Hislop in front, 2-0, takes a massive hack at the 2-0 pitch. He was trying to hit that back to Quakers Hill.
And smiling as well.
As soon as he missed it, the big smile came on his face. He was taking the world's largest hack at that. Unfortunately for Orioles, Kai came up empty.
That was ugly, like his calves.
That one popped up. That'll come up here on the roof.
Good pitch from Jaden Bastow, though. Give the
Gets
guy
over
credit.
the roof. Yeah, 2-0. Kai was looking for fastball down the middle and was just going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at it. Swung himself out of his boots and came up empty. So 2-2 now. Yeah, Hislop. And the new pitcher, Jaden Bastow. As we said, Jaden Bastow warmed up in the 4th and 5th innings before putting his coat back on and heading back to the dugout. So has been in the dugout for 3 innings now.
Yep.
And then goes out to pitch. So.
And I didn't see him go back to the bullpen and
certainly
stretch
did not.
or warm up again.
He did not go back to the bullpen, I can guarantee that. As Kai Hislop swings through a high fastball from Bastow and goes down on strikes.
1 up, 1 down. He still has some heat in that arm, no matter what. That was a good out. Good pitching performance there from Bastow.
Jesse Lynch, who did a little bit of damage in the last innings with a nice double into the gap to drive in Kai Hislop. Goes after the first pitch he sees, comes up dry.
Number 33, Jesse Lynch.
Again, Macarthur in one of those be damned if you do, damned if you don't situations. They would love 1 run just to take that lucky swing of the bat out of the equation. You get that 5-run lead. It's one of those things in baseball you would love to be in front by 5 rather than 4 because it just takes out a loaded bases lucky swing out of the equation. But I'm sure Macarthur would still love to just get out in the field and get these 3 outs and head on to next Wednesday night where they will take on the Central Coast Marlins in the grand final if they can hang on to this 4-run lead.
Yeah, they would. They do favour a little bit of insurance, though. As you said, that 4 runs can be a bit iffy at the wrong part of a game. It will be the 9th innings, which is going to be tough for the Vikings to get those 4 back if we get to that point.
Especially when they have a very good pitcher in the likes of Alex Cobb on the mound. And speaking about a very good pitching, Jaden Bastow paints the outside edge for strike number 3 on Lynch. And again, umpire Ben Nash all over that outside edge. He has called it all night long and the hitters just really haven't adjusted to it. And it's been a pretty good performance from Ben behind the plate. Hasn't missed a trick behind the plate tonight.
Very consistent.
Yeah, been all over that outside edge all night long and a real good game behind the plate for Ben Nash.
And Nick Dollar's first plate appearance of the night as he steps in now. Rips one to the left field side and chasing after it, Lachlan Galleri out there in left field. A lot of work in that one, but Dollar just turned on that one. It was about 3 or 4 years ago we saw the Orioles win a championship game here in Game 3 battle. It was Nick Dollar that came in as a pinch hitter and got the winning run across the plate.
And that's all you can do as a pinch hitter. You put into the game to go out into right field, replace Taka Hyodo. Come out for your first at bat, just roll the bat around, square up, and lift one into left field for a 1-for-1. Batting 1,000 for in the the preliminary grand final game 2, preliminary final game 2. So happy with that.
Just like shelling peas,
isn't it?
Easy game.
Simple game. Square the bat up on the ball, hit it into the outfield, 1 hop to the outfield, and trot up to first base, and happy days.
Coaches make it complicated.
Oh, don't they? What's that mean, coach? You want me to what? Yeah, whatever.
Dane, we got the plate.
Wig takes a called strike, fall behind 0-2 Wigg is 1 for 3 tonight, and he's been hit by 2 pitches. Tends to draw a fair few hit by pitches, does Dane?
Does stand very close to the plate.
Which is probably why he gets hit a few times. A few pitchers say, get out of there. That one misses downstairs, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think Bobby Tweed does have him covered with 16 hit by pitches for the season.
Bruises everywhere.
Yeah, Bobby Tweed, in fact, 17 on the stats.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, all good. And Dane only 5 on the season regular.
Given that 6 of Bobby's was within the first series against Cronulla.
Oh, it's a way to get your numbers up.
Okie doke. Obviously, Bobby said something about Cronulla. The Shire. He wasn't a fan of the Shire down there or something, and then they went after him. 2-2 pitch to Wigg. Hit back up the middle. It's going to be collected. Stepped onto second base by Bannon, and that will be it for the innings. They will get Dollar at second base for the 3rd out. Wigg will be the fielder's choice. Not that it matters too much for Macarthur. Alex Cobb still on the mound doing the damage for the Orioles. And comes up with a called strike on Michael Lennox, who we saw launch one onto the back diamond here at Blacktown in his last at bat.
Certainly did. However, the Vikings need 4 runs to keep this game alive and go to extra innings.
1-1 breaking pitch is a good pitch from Alex Cobb in there for a called strike.
Bottom half of the order now.
Go after Lennox here. Be brave. Inside fastball. The 1-2 pitch from Cobb on its way. Was looking for that slider on the outside edge. Missed it low and out. 2-2 now, the count. Game rolling along at a nice pace. Just about to get to the 3-hour mark. It's a swing and a miss from Lennox on the off-speed pitch from Alex Cobb. Rings up the first out here in the bottom of the 9th and moves Macarthur 1 step closer.
I'll give the pitch selection to Dane Wigg behind the plate. And change of batter here. Pinch hitter coming in, number 9 for the Vikings.
Number nine is Blair Turnbull.
There he is, stepping in right now.
So Turnbull in to face Cobb. First pitch is a fastball down the chute for strike 1. The Orioles feeling much better about themselves getting that first out. Second pitch misses upstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 outs away from the grand final are the Macarthur Orioles.
Where they will take on, whoever wins this game, will take on the Central Coast Marlins.
So that one catches that outside corner that's been called all night long for strike number 2 on Turnbull. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Turnbull. 1-2 pitch is up. It's on its way and it is drilled into right field. Nice piece of hitting by Turnbull. Just stayed with it, barreled it up, squared it up out into right field where it's cleaned up by Nick Dollar. And Blair Turnbull in his first at bat for the night gets himself a base hit. Not too dissimilar to Nick Dollar. He's just thrown in there at the end and said, have a hit.
Yeah, we should have been here all night.
Yeah, get up there and have a hit, son. And he walks up there and goes, thump. 1 for 1. Thanks, coach.
Is that what you want me to do?
That's what you wanted me to do? No problems. You'd have put me in 3 innings earlier, I'd have done that and we might have been in the game, coach.
Mitch Simon steps in now.
Never quite works out like that, however.
Simon came in the bottom of the 7th inning for Tyson Mangione.
First pitch is down that outside corner again. It's been there all night long. All night long has been called a strike by home plate umpire Ben Nash. Ben Nash, Bob Dawes at first base, Jordan Taylor at second base, Bobby Crawford at third base. Been a very good, very uneventful night as this one drilled out into right field. Dollar coming forward, half volleys it and then fires it to second base, not in time. So no catch in the outfield, a half hopper for Nick Dollar. He came up firing, but not good enough. So back-to-back hits to right field for the Vikings, and they are not dead just yet.
Shortstop, Daniel Bannon.
There is life left in the Canterbury season. They are on life support, but they are not gone just yet.
Let's see what Bannon can do.
The machines are beeping, but they're not going away yet. Nobody's pulling the plug just yet.
Alex Cobb still throwing confidently on the hill for the Orioles.
That one catches that outside section of the plate again. 1 ball, 1 strike on Bannon. Bannon 1 for 3.
Time called by Dane Wigg behind the plate. Had a moth in his glove.
Yeah, got a bit of dirt and crap somewhere.
And he got a bug around him there somewhere. One of those Blacktown bugs that bother you behind the dish.
The blue flies.
Yeah, the black flies. Whatever you want to call them.
Not a Balmain bug.
No,
Oh.
hopefully not. Well, maybe.
Well, that's a bit hard to swallow.
Oh, boy.
Called strike now on Bannon. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Gotta tip your waitress on that one.
1-2 pitch on its way from Cobb. It's lifted out into right field. No, it's taken. There's a chance of a double play. And it goes crashing through the first baseman Hislop as diving back to first base went Mitch Simon. Bannon just couldn't get enough to get it over the head of Jesse Lynch, who climbed the ladder nicely to get up and catch that.
I didn't think he could get it. It's
I
fingertips.
thought it was over his head too off the bat. I thought it was going to get over his head. It was going to bleed in for a base hit. They were going to load him up. The tying run would have come to the plate. But as it was, Blair Turnbull went back and froze at second base. So he was able to advance once the throw went to first base and got away from Shannon Hislop. He goes to third. Runners at the corners, but there are now 2 out for Canterbury. They are down to their last out. And if you're down to your last out, I suppose there could be a lot worse people that you would want coming to the plate for you than Trent D'Antonio. Trent takes the first pitch, misses outside for a ball.
5 plate appearances, on base 5 times.
If he gets on base this time, whether it be for a walk or a base hit, Canterbury will have the tying run head to the plate. He allows this one to pass. It's a called strike. Wasn't the pitch he wanted to go after. More than happy to take that one was Trent D'Antonio.
Trent has also done this numerous times at both ABL and national duties level. So,
Doesn't faze him being the possible last out of the ball game. He'll just get up there and bat the same as he does regardless. It's all the same for Trent D'Antonio. It's ahead now in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. This is where you've got to be very careful of Trent D'Antonio ripping one into the right field corner. 2-1 pitch, he goes after it, pops it up. This could be it. It's coming in down for Shannon Hislop. In the tram tracks, Shannon Hislop takes the catch, and the Macarthur Orioles will advance to the grand final series. They will win this one by 11 runs to 7, and they will head to Wednesday night to take on the Central Coast Marlins in Game 1 of the grand final series.
And I've got to reiterate, the Vikings left 12 runners on base, 12 runners stranded, potential runs out there left on during the course of that 9 innings of baseball tonight. So there's a little bit of a killer, and they did convert 7 runs though. So they got 7, left 12 out there, as opposed to the Macarthur Orioles, who scored 11, but they still left 7 stranded as well. So that's quite a lot. They're high numbers. But good game of baseball, good battle between these two sides, and quite different to some of the lower grade games that rolled over pretty quickly. These were strategic. The guys all had a go, and well should the crowd congratulate them on a very competitive game of baseball. High scoring admittedly, but a good game of baseball. Lots of action in it from both sides. Good pitching, good outfield work. Love the outfield work today from both clubs.
Yeah, some great action in the outfield, and really just came down to 2 innings, didn't it? The second innings and the 6th innings, where Macarthur were able to put a 4-spot and a 5-spot on the board, and that was pretty much the ball game done and dusted in those 2 innings. And as Matt was saying early in the game, it is the credo of the Macarthur Orioles to build big innings, put pressure on, to get those crooked numbers on the scoreboard, and they were able to do it tonight. In the second innings, they put 4 on the board. The 6th innings, they put 5 on the board. And that was enough to see the Vikings off. The Vikings were brave. They kept coming. They kept trying. But they were no match in the end for the Orioles, running out winners 11 runs to 7 over the Canterbury Vikings.
And it was interesting to see that the bottom of the order for the Orioles did a lot of the damage tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, the back end.
Yeah, Jesse Lynch, he had a couple of RBIs. He scored, 3 RBIs. Taka Hiodo with a couple of RBIs of his own. They're the 8 and 9 hitters, and then the number 1 hitters, Dane Wigg, getting home on a couple of those drive-ins. So, as you say, plenty of production in that bottom between Hislop, Lynch, and Hiodo/Dollar. Plenty of production in the bottom of the lineup for the Orioles.
Any man of the match, gentlemen, there, the MVP for the game, who would you pick?
Oh, wow.
Difficult, isn't it?
Very, very difficult.
Pick one for each side if you like. Vikings. I like the outfield. That's really tricky.
Vikings, it would probably be hard to go past Trent D'Antonio. He was 2 for 2 with 3 walks, so he was on base 5 times in that leadoff role for Canterbury. Gave them every chance to keep going. As you say, the outfield was very good. Lachlan Giulieri had a great game for the Vikings as well. He'd be up there. Macarthur, you could go right across the line. Coco Johnson took a screaming catch in centre field, which halted a lot of momentum of the Vikings. He was solid out there. Probably not the best game for Coco with the bat, only going 1 from 5. Kai Hislop was very good with the bat. He was 1 for 3. Scored 3 runs. Got on base a couple of times with walks and scored 3 runs. Jesse Lynch was pretty good. I'll probably give it to Jesse Lynch for the Orioles. He was real good with the bat down there in that 8 slot, driving in a few runs with a couple of hits to centre field, and was very solid at second base when he came in to replace Glover, making a couple of great plays. So that's where I would go with the Orioles.
Yeah, good work, Cam. Good call. Summarising today's baseball, what a big day of baseball is. Would have been full grand final day with this being grand final first grade, but for a washout last weekend that delayed the first grade championship series through till next week. As we said, Central Coast will play Macarthur starting Wednesday night at 7:30 from here at Blacktown International Sports Park. They were the first ones into the grand final championship series. Then game 2 will be Saturday night at 7:30, and Sunday, if required, game 3 will be at 2 o'clock next Sunday afternoon here at the same venue. So 3-game championship series for the grand final in the first grade competition of Baseball New South Wales State League. But earlier today we'll just recap the under-18s championship game in the grand final for under-18s was played between Manly and Cronulla. Manly coming out victors over Cronulla by 3-1. And in the third grade grand final was Balcombe Hills victorious over the Macarthur Orioles by 4-1 in third grade. The second grade scoreline was Cronulla winning that one by 3-1 over the Ryde Hawks, and that was a terrific game, a very fast game of baseball, we must say. And then, of course, tonight's game won by the Macarthur Orioles over the Vikings by 11-7 in a very entertaining and tough game of baseball here in Game 2 of the preliminary final. And as I said, Macarthur advancing to the grand final championship series against the Central Coast, commencing on Wednesday night. So, gents, in a wrap, I think been a big day of baseball today. 3 games completely broadcast, under-18s vision, and we'll get the replay up with some audio on that as well within a few days' time, and that will allow all of the players to watch their great grand final games throughout the coming weeks, and those games will start there for some time, and that's very, very good to see. And we're glad we'll be able to be available for this weekend to be able to broadcast these games all day today. And we hope that we brought you the vision that you would have expected, and the commentary as light-hearted as it gets sometimes. We hope that was entertaining as well. I hope you enjoyed your baseball coverage from Sports Broadcasting Australia and the Summer of Baseball team. I'd like to thank Matt Jeevens for joining us today as well. Paul McCulloch doing the switching, and a little bit of chat earlier on in the stats and research department, Dave Bonham behind me. And, of course, Big Cam sitting there in the commentary box. And we got through a big day of baseball. I'm Harrow. Thanks for tuning in. And keep your eye on our websites and our Twitter pages and the Facebook pages, Summer of Baseball and Sports Broadcasting Australia on Facebook. There's 2 of them to see what's happening in the broadcasting space over the next few weeks. Thanks for watching and listening. Tell your friends and family about the replays. They're on there on Baseball.TV.